You get new tracks and people like them, but man, Martinsville is just a full book of history.
It's a special place. It's kind of a throwback to the past.
This racetrack is where our sport started.
I think it helps bridge the past to where we are today.
Man, I'm excited. See you on our game as always. Let's do this right now. Street fight.
I love the challenge of Martinsville. I always have.
This place is going to test your patience.
You got one line. You've got everybody in that line.
It's going to test your temper.
It looks simple. And they'll tell you right now, it's one of the toughest racetracks you'll ever race.
Darrell Waltrip is going to win here in Martinsville.
And I know how special that trophy is.
It's a top trophy to go after.
Let's bring home that clock. Get our first clock. Win a clock, another clock.
It's all people talk about. I want to win me a clock.
I want a grandfather clock.
75 years. That is how long NASCAR's been racing at the short track in Virginia that's shaped like a paperclip. 7 decades of celebrations, of bumps and runs, of 7 decades of drivers laying it all on the line in order to win one of the coolest trophies in NASCAR. And tonight we're going to do something at this historic track that's never been done before. 400 laps instead of 500 under the lights. Yes, indeed. Welcome to Race Day on FS1 presented by Coca-Cola, and welcome into our Race Day studios. I'm Shannon Spake, so happy to be back with the guys. He's America's crew chief, 1993 Martinsville winner, and sitting next to him, he won the Daytona 500, but never at Martinsville. He finished twice at second at Martinsville, twice, in fact, of course, Jamie McMurray. But it's good to finish second.
Yeah, it's almost as good as winning, Shannon.
Close. So we've chatted all week long leading up to this race about how exciting it could get out at Martinsville. We maybe saw a little bit last night in the Xfinity Series. What do you expect tonight?
Yeah, I mean, I think all year long, and not just Cup Series, but Xfinity Series, we've seen some tremendous finishes. And then, as you mentioned, last night, a little drama after the race. And I would say, as you pointed out, we'll be under the lights tonight. I wouldn't be shocked to see another surprise this evening.
Yeah, and this is our second consecutive short track race. And again, you think about short tracks, you think about Saturday night. You also think about beating and banging. We're going to have plenty of that. And I promise you, someone's going to be looking for someone when this race is over. Somebody's going to be mad at another driver.
Larry Mack, tell the folks what the night time is.
The right time.
It is the right time. And if you haven't seen the way things went down post-race last night in Martinsville, let's remind you, we had a little rumble in the mountains between two of the young drivers.
Anxious times. Second attempt at overtime. Ty Gibbs up the track.
Sam kind of took him out.
You gotta be smart, but come on, man. Come on.
Oh, wow.
Jump, dude. Jump. We don't need that, man.
Oh, we got some angry fellas here.
Oh, there's a punch.
They've not always gotten along, so it just came to fruition tonight.
So if you're like us, we were sitting there watching the TV like this. What just happened, right? Just wild. Walk me through this. Good, bad, who's right, who's wrong? What do you think, Jamie?
Well, I'm going to start by saying that with what happened at Richmond and really what Ty has done up to this point, I defended. I thought Richmond was just a racing deal, hard racing. I liked it. I mean, I think that's what we want to see in the races. But we talked about how is Ty Gibbs going to react when the favor is returned. And we didn't have to wait very long to see how that was. Last night, what happened, Ty Gibbs obviously in the wrong. From exactly what happened after the checkered flag of getting into the back of Sam Mayer in turn one, tearing his car up, to then getting to pit road, the confrontation on pit road. I think John Hunter Nemechek was probably a really good example last week of how to handle this, have a discussion. But the fighting on pit road, as much as we like watching that, Ty Gibbs said that he was going to have one coming, and he knew that. And what you have to remember is that even though it wasn't for the race win, Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs, it was $100,000, probably more than what a win pays in the Xfinity Series. And he didn't wreck him. It didn't tear Ty Gibbs' car up. He was frustrated with what happened, and he didn't handle the situation correctly.
Yeah, I think where I start having a real problem, and both of y'all have heard me say this, is once that checkered flag is over, leave the race car out of it. And Ty Gibbs did not do that. There was a lot going on, a lot more damage on that 54 car that he doesn't have to worry about fixing. But a lot like Jamie, I stood up for Ty Gibbs every single day of this past week because in my book, he didn't do anything wrong.
Right.
He was going for the win, and he did a bump and run on his teammate. But it appears to me Ty Gibbs is he's just fine with giving, but he has a big problem with receiving, and that's going to be a tough road to hoe.
Does Grandpa, team owner, coach, does all that stuff maybe get involved a little bit? What do you think?
So far, I have not seen Coach Gibbs get involved with any of his drivers in any of the things they get involved in.
He has drivers that have.
He has a lot of experience with his drivers.
Which
as well.
drivers are you referring to?
It's a long list.
Yeah, time now for an update on the Coca-Cola family of drivers. Take a look at this. Joey Logano starting 14th, a little farther back than he's used to, but he does have top 10s in the last 5 Martinsville races, 1 in 18. Austin Dillon was in the booth last night for the Xfinity race. Daniel Suarez starts 30th. And what about our focus on Denny Hamlin? What a weekend it was in Richmond. Hamlin drove from 1 lap down to earn his first and much-needed win of the season, the 47th of his career. And don't look now, because he is pretty good at Martinsville. Regan Smith is with the Virginia native, Denny Hamlin.
Shannon, it was a huge week last week for Denny Hamlin, a big win. One of your home racetracks. What's this week been like? Has the party stopped yet?
The party never stops, Regan. It's my life is a party, but it's been a great week. Obviously, we had struggled to get some good finishes earlier in the year, and so now, with a win, it's like, okay, we don't need to go out and just get a solid day anymore. And that was kind of where we were at after 5-6 weeks. It's like, gosh, can we just get a solid finish? Now that's out of the window. Now we just go for more wins.
So you go for more wins. Now we're here at Martinsville, a place that's been your personal playground, 5 victories here, but a new car. How much is going to be different for you tonight that you've got to work on with this car?
It's going to be all race. I'll learn all race. I'm going to have to adapt all race. We were pretty slow in practice, and there's some things that I need to do better, and certainly some things with the car that need to be better. So it's just, I'm going to have 400 laps of learning around here, and the key is, what can I take out of this week that's going to make us better when we come back here and race for real.
Shannon, my money is going to be on Denny for one of the guys that can learn this the fastest. Always so good at Martinsville. I don't expect much different tonight.
Yeah, I could put a lot of money on that one. Won 5 times, starting 25th. And you sat here this week or last week and said that Joe Gibbs Racing needed to get a win at Richmond just because of how good they were. Is that enough? Is that win at Richmond enough?
Yeah, honestly, I felt like that Richmond last week, Martinsville this weekend, it would give us that measuring stick on Joe Gibbs Racing. It's been like 2 of their playgrounds. Now, I will say there was some strategy involved, but they still had good race cars. But they definitely responded, because you think about it, Shannon, they only had 2 top 5 finishes combined headed into Richmond. They got 2 last week.
Yeah.
They had only led 198 laps combined the first 6 races. They led almost 150 last week. But I will say this. I spoke to Denny. I spoke to Martin Truex Jr. this week. They're happy with the way they perform, but they know there's still a lot of work to do, and they're anxious to get back to the intermediate track.
Yeah, it'll be interesting over the next couple weeks. Jamie Little is with another Joe Gibbs Racing driver who's also a 3-time Martinsville winner, including this race last season. That, of course, is Martin Truex Jr. Jamie?
Well, Shannon, Martin Truex Jr. has been the best driver at Martinsville the last 2 years, winning 3 of the past 5 races. But it's a new car, an old track. So is it more adaptability today, or can you lean on what you know and your abilities here?
Yeah, I mean, so far it's been more about just trying to get the car balanced right and get the corner connected. It's been, yesterday wasn't a good practice for us or qualifying, but it's just so different with the shifting, with the brakes on this car. Everything about it feels different. The races we've run good this year, I feel like I've been able to get the feel that I'm used to run good, and yesterday I didn't have that, so I'm a little nervous about it, but we're going to work hard on our Bass Pro Camry all night and just try to scrap out what we can.
Well, the good news is last week at Richmond, your crew chief James Small told me it's the most normal we felt, like we connected that whole race. Anything that you could carry over to this one tonight?
I mean, not so far. I'm hoping for some tire fall off, but obviously it's really cold and it's snowing right now, so I'm not sure tire fall off is going to be in the equation. We're going to have good pit stops and good restarts all night, because I don't think we have the speed to get to the front and win it.
All right, well, you heard him right, Shannon. He did just say it's snowing, but this will stop and we will race soon.
A little snow for Jamie Little's birthday. Right? Jamie Little, happy birthday, by the way.
Happy birthday.
And Martin Truex Jr., 3-time Martinsville winner, budding meteorologist out there. Listen, he didn't sound entirely confident.
I didn't get much confidence out of either Joe Gibbs Racing driver heading in tonight based on the way they ran at Richmond last weekend. But Martin talked about trying to connect the corner. And the one thing that stuck out to me after watching practice and qualifying, and he mentioned it, was shifting. With the old car, I would say Martin Truex Jr., best driver. Now that they're shifting, and we're going to ride on with Austin Cindric right here, I want you to watch. On the enter the corner, you're going to see him downshift, getting into the corner. As soon as he downshifts right there, ooh, you see that he gets loose. You have to time out that shift perfectly. If you downshift too early, it puts too much rear brake in the car. It can also upset the balance. It's obviously really good for the exit of the corners, but there's a lot going on inside the car. And when you're Truex or Denny, these guys have had success here, and then you change it up, not only with a new car, but then you add in shifting. It just changes the dynamic of the race. And I'm with you, not much confidence.
No,
out of
I mean,
those
use
two.
your knee, right? Isn't that what we do in the car? If you have to,
that's right. Yeah. So you take a drink, eat,
exactly.
whatever you're doing.
The USFL is almost here. Players are fired up and ready to go as we are just 1 week away from the start of this new league. The inaugural season kicks off on April 16th with a battle between the New Jersey Generals and Birmingham Stallions airing on both Fox and NBC. It's crazy because you look at that and you think those guys are inside the race car. They have to take their hand off the wheel as they're turning. It's a lot. It's a lot. Still to come here on race day. We're going to see if it's still snowing outside. Kyle Larson looking for his first win at Martinsville, looking to kind of get back on track because we haven't talked about him a whole lot, have we, Jamie?
It's been like 6 weeks, Shannon. Poor guy.
Good start for this guy, Larry.
Yeah, outside the front row. Good start.
Yeah. We'll be right back. Back here on race day, a little rain, a little snow. They're not going to keep the smile off that guy's face.
Yeah, Joey Logano qualified 14th. Only has the one top 5 so far this year. 5th back at Fontana, California. But you never know. We are going dirt racing next year.
Yeah, he wants another one of those cool sword trophies.
How can you forget the race last year with Alex Bowman and Denny Hamlin, a little battle on the front stretch. Also won at Vegas earlier this year. I was most impressed, though, I think, with finishing second on the road course at COTA. Again, involved in another late race finish.
Here's his teammate, William Byron, winner of the truck race the other night up there at Martinsville. Qualified 5th. Got that win in the books at Atlanta a couple of weeks ago. In fact, 2 top 5s in his last 3 races and top 5 finishes both Martinsville races last year.
And there's our guy that was in the booth last night with Adam Alexander for about 12 hours, I think. He was up there calling the Xfinity Series race. Has been pretty good at Martinsville, top 10 in both races last year. Looking to have a good run tonight.
Yeah, what about this guy right here? Brad Keselowski starting 9th tonight. Good starting position, but a really busy week for Brad because it announced on Thursday that the penalties for Roush Fenway Keselowski Racing were upheld by the appeals panel. He spoke yesterday about the prospects for the playoffs.
Not that the penalty doesn't hurt, not that it's not impactful, it is. I don't think you make the playoffs without winning a race this year. Ultimately, our success is not dictated by this or anything else other than our ability to get this team and these cars to where they can compete at a high level and run for races, race wins. And everything outside of that to me is just noise.
Yeah, listen, I mean, you knew that there were going to be some growing pains in your first year as a team owner over there, but this is a tough one to overcome. Can he do it?
Yeah, I think when you look at Brad, his best chance, and he will have to win. They're not running good enough to make up the points deficit that he's going to have from this penalty. But he led 67 laps in the Daytona 500. I thought had the best car. So I look to Talladega in a few weeks and also Daytona later on this year as really being his best chance to make it in.
Yeah, and you know, you hate it for this organization. You know, they're trying to build. They're trying to get things put together over there. But I will say I was probably not surprised that the appeal committee upheld this penalty because the owners went to NASCAR when this car was coming out and said, save us from ourselves. Make us buy parts from sole suppliers. And that's about 30-something parts and pieces, including the body. And any of these parts and pieces, when you buy them, you bolt them on. You don't adjust them. You don't modify them, no matter what the circumstance. Unfortunately, that's what happened.
Yeah, I would put all my money on him at Talladega. I mean, I don't care what he's driving. Now let's look at tonight's Protecting the Lead, sponsored by Armor All. Larry, what is your advice to perform well at Martinsville?
Well, it's going to start with practice, patience. Pick your battles. I've always said, if you stick your finger in a rattlesnake's mouth, don't get mad because it bites us. They're going to be beating on the side of you, on your rear bumper. You have to practice patience. And you heard Martin Truex Jr. say, making the right adjustments. We have no idea how this car is going to react. It's cold. We're not sure how the concrete's going to take rubber. You're going to have to stay on top of adjustments, and no mistakes on pit road. It always is a difference maker. In the last 4 races, we have had 34 pit road speeding penalties. Don't let pit road beat you. Do the racing out on the racetrack and stay mistake-free.
That rattlesnake will get you every time, won't it?
I love Larry's metaphor.
I have literally never heard you say that, and I've been sitting next to you for many, many years now.
I used to always tell my drivers.
Would you tell that driver right there not to stick his finger in a rattlesnake's mouth? Might get like that out there tonight at Martinsville. That's, of course, Ryan Blaney looking for his first win of the season. We will be right back. Welcome back to Race Day on FS1, presented by Coca-Cola. And you know what? There was a really neat event that took place at Martinsville yesterday as the NASCAR Foundation hosted the Boys and Girls Club of the Blue Ridge for the NASCAR Foundation's Speediatrics Fun Day Festival, powered by Colleague Racing. The program is aimed at inspiring children to live a healthy lifestyle through the lens of NASCAR. And so you cannot think of Martinsville and not think of Hendrick Motorsports. Their first win came at the paperclip in April 1984 with Jeff Bodine at the wheel. The 26 total wins lead the way with Hall of Famer Jeff Gordon and 7-time champ Jimmy Johnson, each with 9. The overall stats for Hendrick speak for itself. But as a team, they're only 18 laps away from 10,000 laps led at this track. Hendrick's Martinsville dominance is history in itself. And 40 years they have been dominating at this racetrack.
Well, I don't care how long you've been racing, to have 26 wins at one racetrack with 7 different drivers, that's absolutely amazing. But then when you think of how Martinsville plays into the history of Hendrick Motorsports, sitting at 283 wins, but you said it, Shannon, the first one right there in Martinsville back in the spring of 1984. And the sidebar story, that was the 5 car with Jeff Bodine, Harry Hyde, the crew chief. It was race number 8. First 7 races didn't go that well. Rick was funding a lot out of his pocket. He said, guys, no more. Harry and Jeff begged Rick, let's go run that race. Jeff Bodine gets around that track. Great. We can go up there and win the race. They actually won 3 races that year, and the rest is history.
Crazy, 40 years. You just get a Hendrick Motorsports car.
Wikipedia on us right there. That was good. When you look at the 26 wins, 24 of those are with drivers that are no longer with Hendrick Motorsports. Chase Elliott and Alex Bowman are the only 2 drivers to have a win that are currently there. Expect them to run well tonight. But the driver that I look at tonight is William Byron. He won the truck race on Thursday, top 5 both races last year, and finished 2nd here in 2019. I think he might surprise us tonight.
Well, you just mentioned one of those drivers, Chase Elliott. We're going to check in with him right now out there at Martinsville Speedway to see what he thinks about his chances. Chase, thanks for taking a few minutes. And I'm going to ask you this question, right? Because we know that Martinsville can get crazy. Last night was a great example of that. I know you were sitting in that motorhome or at home watching that race, and you have certainly been a part of some really incredible highlights out at that track. How much do you guys enjoy that aspect of Martinsville, just the aggressiveness?
Yeah, that's an understatement. Last night was wild. Entertaining though. Hey, I mean, it made for great TV. So I enjoyed watching for sure. But I don't know about being a part of it. But it was certainly fun to watch. But yeah, this place can produce that. You know, look, it's a short track. You know, restarts can get wild. Guys can run in. You can get to somebody's bumper. You know, the corners get so slow. You have that opportunity. So it can certainly lead down that road. So something about night racing and a short track typically gets pretty wild. So I'm sure tonight will probably be no different.
So he likes it when he's watching it, but not necessarily when he's in it.
That's what I was going to say, Chase. I love watching all that controversy. I just never wanted to be a part of it. The one thing about this year that we've seen with the new car is a lot of shifting. And it started with the Clash, which I think kind of took all of us off guard, or caught us off guard, to see that on a short track. Last week at Richmond, we saw it again. We actually saw you and some other drivers maybe run in 4th gear for a whole lap. But I couldn't believe at Martinsville, not only in practice, but we saw you guys shifting in qualifying. So do you expect to shift every lap tonight? And if that's the case, what's the concern of the durability of the car surviving that? And then also the mistake factor from a driver maybe late in the race?
Yeah, I'm going to be really impressed if nothing breaks tonight for sure. So, I mean, you're shifting 1,600 plus times, right? 2 a lap, or 4 a lap. So, like I said, I'll be really impressed. We'll see. We shifted a lot at the road courses. Obviously, we shifted a lot at Phoenix actually, and everything seemed to be fine there. But I'm not sure we've shifted this much, and certainly not in between just 2 gears. And we're actually on the side of the RPM range where if we were shifting in qualifying, you're definitely going to want to be shifting in the race. I tried to run in 4th only, and there in practice, and you don't have any get up and go. It just can't get up off the corner. So I think shifting is going to be a necessity to make pace. And until something breaks or somebody tells us we shouldn't do that, obviously I think everybody's going to, choose the pace 10 times out of 10 times. So we'll see. Tire management could become a factor, but the pace didn't really fall off much yesterday either. And it being cool tonight, I don't see that happening tonight either. So it'll be interesting, and I think we're all really and truly still learning. We were just talking about it a minute ago, and I think we all kind of have the sensation that we might not 100% know what it's going to take to be successful, here at lap 400 yet tonight. It's a bit of a guess right now for a lot of teams, and I think we're included in that. So we'll, hopefully make good adjustments and try to have a shot there at the end of 400.
No, I watched that 50-something lap run you ran in practice. It was pretty impressive. Chase, you probably heard our conversation about Hendrick Motorsports. 26 wins at Martinsville with 7 different drivers. You contributed with one of those back in November of 2020. You watched your dad race against this bunch. You've been part of this group now. What makes this group so good at Martinsville, Virginia?
Yeah, I have. I've been, fortunate to be a part of some of that success, a very small portion of it, but have been in the race, when Jimmy's won a couple up here too. And I think a lot of it really just their history of being so successful here. I think it kind of snowballs over the years. And when you have a good package somewhere, I think you're able to go into a new process like this new car has been and be able to take some of the ideas that have worked in the past and be able to apply them in the right way. And their approach up here has been solid for a long time. Does that mean it's going to work tonight? No, it doesn't guarantee that. I hope it does for our sake, but we'll have to wait and see. This deal tonight, I think, is going to be as big of a change as I've been a part of for sure, as far as the car and kind of what you need to be successful. So we tried to implement as many of the things that we felt like we did a good job with here in the past to this thing and to this weekend, and we'll see how it goes. If it works, great, and if not, we'll go back to work and try to make it better for the fall race.
We talk about Hendrick Motorsports milestones, just 18 laps to 10,000 laps tonight led for that team. You've got the perfect position to make that happen. Good luck keeping her out front, Chase.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Y'all enjoy, have fun. It's I think it's quit snowing. I think it's quit raining, so it should be in good shape.
You guys are awesome meteorologists, by the way. We're gonna give you a little button that says meteorologist. Thank you, Chase.
There you go. Thanks.
Take care. Okay, you said he needed a button. I don't know. I lost what I was going to say. Yeah, badge, hat. Sure. He's got a hat on already, a jacket. I don't know.
A badge. That would be good. Sorry.
It's okay. All right. So you said this week that he needs a win.
Well, I think he'll tell you he needs a win. He's sitting on a 23-race winless streak. He's the only Hendrick driver that has not found victory lane. But you heard me mention it to him. Not because he's on the pole. That was 2 runs of 2 laps. This is 400 laps, but that 50-something lap run that he made yesterday, I was pretty impressed. I hear a lot of cautiously optimistic by all these drivers that we've been talking to, but I would say what I saw yesterday, that winless streak could come to an end tonight.
All right, let's bring in the men who are going to be calling all of the action from Martinsville. Mike Joy, Clint Boyer, and our guest analyst, our colleague who knows a thing or 9 about winning at Martinsville. How does that track look out there right now, guys, with the lights shining down? I know it's a little wet.
Well, Andy Jeffers out there with the weather rock, and he says it's a little wet. It's raining. But Chad says the rain's going to stop in 5 minutes. And Chad, as you say, knows everything. You know a thing or 9. Shannon, that's a great line. Well, you told the story, and Larry gave all the stats. Hendrick Motorsports has had such dominance here. And why? I mean, what has led to that dynasty at Martinsville with 26 victories?
It's really an amazing event for us. We really enjoy coming here because obviously home to where Hendrick Motorsports got its very first victory with Jeff Bodine in the number 5 car years and years ago. And every time we come here, we put a lot of emphasis on Mr. Hendrick from Virginia. Obviously, we've had some tragedy here, which we all know about in 2004. This is actually home to one of my favorite victories, 2007, racing Jeff Gordon around this track, and Jeff beating the bumper of the 48 car was really a lot of fun. I felt like that solidified the 48.
Wait a minute, are you sure that was fun?
I loved it, man. That was great because we were in a position.
But why? Why are you so good here?
We put a little bit into it, but I think it has a lot to do with, really, we've got great race car drivers, we've got great crew chiefs, and every time we come here, we want to perform.
So, Clint, are they the favorite tonight?
Absolutely. The guy's on point. We just heard from him. Chase Elliott is on the pole very fast yesterday in Friday's practice. And then you've got the 24 car. My eye is on that William Byron in the 24. The 5 car is in 8th, and then I think the 48 is starting 15th. So I'm telling you, these guys are the heat. They're the ones to beat still. That old dynasty that you used to have, I'm telling you, it's still alive. Keep an eye on these Hendrick boys.
All right, we're going to let you analyze the weather rock further because there may be a little snowflakes in the distance, but we're promised no accumulation, Shannon.
Oh, my goodness. Snow, rain, everything. We got everything going on at Martinsville. If you want a chance to win Clint Boyer's money, just scan the QR code and download the Fox Bet Super 6 app. Then answer 6 questions about tonight's race for your shot at $5,000. Or as Clint would say, $5,000. Is that how he would say it? Maybe he'll say it up there tonight. Oh, there they are, the track dryers. We like to see that. Snow, yeah, get that wet stuff out of the way because we want to go racing under the lights at Martinsville. Back here on race day, we do know that the track dryers are out there right now, but we don't know a lot of things, right, Jamie? You heard Chase Elliott talk about it. 16,000 shifts. 1,600 shifts. Yeah. I added a 0.
You're not going to be a meteorologist or a mathematician, Shannon.
I get that button?
You don't get
no.
You're not giving out badges.
A lot of unknowns, right?
A lot of unknowns. And I just, you think about coming to a short track, it's crazy to think that they might shift every single lap. And he mentioned it. If they did it in qualifying, the pace in qualifying, typically you would not need this shifting. So when it slows down a little bit, yeah, I mean, they're going to want to use that as much as they can, as long as those rear tires will hold up, Larry.
And it is a new shifter out there. So it'll be interesting to see how that plays out during this 400-lap race. Let's head trackside for opening ceremonies at Martinsville.
Ladies and gentlemen, at this time, we ask that you please rise as you are able. Remove your hats as the McMichael High School Air Force Junior ROTC presents our nation's colors. Please remain standing as lead pastor from Compassion Church of Danville, Jeff Lynch, offers tonight's invocation.
Let's pray. Father God, we thank you tonight for this special event that we were about to experience. We thank you for NASCAR and for the Martinsville Speedway and for all the wonderful opportunities that this amazing organization provides for so many people. Lord, tonight as the teams take the track under the lights, we ask you for an epic race, but most of all, we ask for safety for the drivers and for all the teams. In Jesus' name we pray, amen.
Here to perform our national anthem, please welcome the 29th Division Army Band, Virginia Army National Guard.
NASCAR's oldest track with one of the coolest trophies. Speaking of cool, 45 degrees out there at Martinsville. We'll continue to get you ready for the race coming up right after the break here on Race Day.
Easter Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Start your engines.
Head on down to the Bristol Motor Speedway. It's a half mile of dirt so dusty it'll make your vacuum puke. Oh, but that's not all. Week after, it's Talladega. Where the track's so long, you'll need binoculars taped to a telescope just to see the finish line. The speeds are different. The wrecks are different. The driving will be different. But the fun will be the same. It's Bristol and Talladega. Buckle your seatbelts.
Yeah, buckle your seatbelts. Get you excited right there, right? I mean, Talladega, listen, that's one of my favorite racetracks, if not my favorite racetrack, and I know it's yours.
Well, it is. It's my home track. But, you know, this will be the second race for the next-gen car at a Daytona Talladega type track. And I go back to the Daytona 500. It did not let us down. The racing we had there from green flag to checkered was so intense. And I have no reason to believe that Talladega will not be the same, that we're going to go 188 laps, 500 miles, probably not going to know who the winner is until they're coming through the tri-oval with the checkered flag waving, just like Brad Keselowski made that last lap pass 1 year ago.
I love it. We raced at Bristol in the dirt last year, but this is going to be a lot different.
Yeah, we're going to get to race actually on Easter Sunday. I think about the traditions of Easter Sunday and maybe being at your grandmother's house or at your family. At Blanche's?
Aunt Blanche's
Aunt
house,
Blanche's.
yeah.
I do not have an Aunt Blanche. But I think about families being together and then joining to watch the NASCAR race. And the dirt race is so unique, and we always talk about unknowns. Think about Joey Logano winning last year, really no dirt experience. Christopher Bell, Kyle Larson, those are kind of the favorites. They wrecked each other last year, got involved in the same wreck. We saw some surprises there. So I look forward to seeing Bristol dirt. Hopefully have better weather.
Aunt Blanche and Uncle...
Who's Aunt Blanche?
Uncle Fred.
Is that what it was? I don't know. Probably his Aunt Blanche.
Yeah.
No. So obviously we have two big races coming up in the next 2 weeks, but this is a big race as well. It's actually the 75th anniversary of Martinsville. And the NASCAR Hall of Fame in Charlotte currently has a special exhibit honoring the history and legacy of Martinsville Speedway. The display features photos dating back to the very beginning of the Speedway in 1947, way before Larry Mack was there, and memorabilia through the decades all about this special little town.
Life feels smaller out here. Stiller.
I ain't got nobody to ease this.
Still enough to hear engines echo on the other side of the city. Hell, you don't know what you're looking for, you just might drive right past it.
Yeah, I'm gonna country, baby.
On race day, we're at the track. Same sort of folks come to the clip every year, but it ain't always friendly. They say there are no secrets in a small town. Well, and no strangers either.
Just an absolute pack.
This is Martinsville.
So while Larry Mack has not been coming to Martinsville for 75 years, he has been coming to this track for 42, which is a lot longer than all of us. And we were talking earlier, even though there's been small little changes here and there, but you could almost step into that racetrack right now today and feel like you're in 1942.
Yeah, since I've been going there since 1980, the track has really not changed. Half-mile paper clip, asphalt straightaways,
train in the back,
corners. Yeah, the train's back there. Yeah, the grandstands, they've gotten better, they've gotten bigger. But the thing about it, with technology we have, you could duplicate this track anywhere in the country. No, you can't. It would be like trying to duplicate Lambeau Field, Fenway Park, Augusta. Martinsville is Martinsville because of where it's located, right there in the middle of a neighborhood.
Yeah, and you know what we saw on that little highlight reel was fights.
Fighting, yeah.
Because we do, it always has great highlights.
Yeah, and I think part of the reason you see that, obviously it's a short track, but the speeds are also a little bit slower here. So drivers get put in a position where they can move someone out of the way. Typically, it hurts someone's feelings. Ty Gibbs, Sam Mayer last night would be a good example of that. But it also is one of those tracks that has some really important races. And I think the Cup Series race, the playoffs.
Cue the video, right? Cue the video. It's just
that was a 1-2 punch, I think they call that.
Yeah, it was.
Good
It was
contact. But it does produce some dramatic finish. I think about Alex Bowman, Denny Hamlin at the end of last year. This race is important for numerous reasons. I think part of it is the placement in the season.
All right, let's head out to the racetrack right now as we're waiting for it to get dried and engines to fire. Let's say hello to Eric Almirola, who's going to join us now. Eric, I know you've been listening in. Where were you last night during the Xfinity Series race? What'd you think about it? And have you ever been involved in any of those sort of altercations at Martinsville?
No, I have not. And last night I was laying on the couch in the motorhome in my pajamas with Alex. Abby and Janice were already asleep, and we watched it. And I was just surprised that he started with a haymaker. Usually it's a jab, then the haymaker. So, but yeah, it's Martinsville, right? People get their feelings hurt. We run into each other, move people out of the way, and it happens. We see it time and time again when we show up here. I was most impressed by the fact that Larry said he was here in 1980. That is impressive, bud. That was 4 years before I was born, and I have gray hair.
Really? Really? Is that where we've come?
All right, nice talking to you, Eric. You have a great night. No, I'm just kidding. Listen, last year when we were there, you were the top finishing Stewart-Haas Racing driver, finished 6th. But we keep hearing just about how different everything is out there this weekend. How does it feel inside that race car?
Honestly, there's some still, some similar tendencies to Martinsville. We unloaded, and I felt like my car drove really good, and it was doing the typical Martinsville things right. It was rolling the middle of the corner. It was driving up off the exit of the corners with good rear drive. So it's still Martinsville. No matter what car. I've raced here in a late model stock, and I've raced here in a truck. I've raced here in a cup car, and now this next-gen car, and it's still Martinsville. You still have to roll the middle of the corner, and you still have to launch up off the corners. So that will never change, but we are a lot busier. Downshifting in the corners, upshifting on the straightaways. There's a lot more going on for us inside the cockpit than we used to.
So, Eric, I go back to last year. You were the only Stewart-Haas Racing driver to found Victory Lane there at New Hampshire back last summer. And then we roll into this year. We've got the next-gen car. You've got a new crew chief with Drew Blickensderfer, and you clicked off 3 consecutive top 10 finishes. You're still running good, solid runs right now, but where do you see, the 10 car, where do you see Stewart-Haas Racing right now?
We've had a car capable of winning every single race. I mean, really, when you go back and look at every single race, we were in the thick of it at the end at the Daytona 500. California, we had good cars. We ran up front. Chase led some laps, and we all ran up front. You go to Phoenix, Briscoe won. Vegas, we had good cars. We ran up front. So we've had cars running up front. Last week at Richmond, Harvick had a great car and challenged for the win. So we've had at least a car in the organization running up front at each racetrack that we've been to. We just continue to build a notebook. And, there's a steep learning curve with this new car. We're going to racetracks for the first time with this car and with no notebook. And it's kind of a guessing game, really. So I feel like we're off to a good start, to be honest, and I feel like we're learning some things. We're starting to make some more sense of things with our simulation program and with the simulator at Ford Performance. And we came here as a perfect example after learning some stuff on what we did wrong and what the 4-car had that we thought was better than us at Richmond. And we went to the simulator and had a good session there, and we implemented a lot of that stuff, and we unloaded here with a really, really fast Smithfield Ford Mustang. So I feel like we're going in the right direction, and we are off to a good start with the 10 team. Drew's been doing a great job. We started off the season great, and we've even run good at the races where we haven't finished good. At Atlanta, we were battling for the lead and running up in the first couple spots before we got spun out. And, even at Richmond, we had an okay car. I thought we had a top 10 car, and we gambled a little bit on strategy, which was, it didn't work out in our favor. But had we had caught a caution at any point in those stages where we were running long, we would have had an extra set of tires and been in the top 10. So, we're still doing all the small things and the details right, and we're in good shape.
So, Eric, you brought up simulation, and I think it's important for people to realize, and you said this, that it's not necessarily the simulation heading into a weekend, but it's maybe a post-simulation, like after Martinsville, the changes you make on the car, do those correlate with what the simulator says? One of the things that we just talked to Chase Elliott about was shifting. Is shifting something that you guys have practiced in the simulator, and have you seen the way it reacts to be the same as what you saw on the track yesterday? Yeah, there's still a learning curve with that as well. I mean, that's even new for, the engine, team is trying to implement that into the simulation and what that looks like. There's still a lot of learning. I keep saying that over and over, but there's just so much to learn with this new car. And for me personally, as a driver, my old habits, I have to shed those at a lot of these places, and I have to learn, what this new car wants. And the setups, Drew and our engineering team are still learning all those things as well. But yeah, simulation is so important right now. We're showing up to these racetracks, and you don't really get an opportunity to change a lot on the car. You can basically make pit stop, adjustments. So you can't change springs, you can't change sway bars, and all the things that we used to be able to when you'd show up and you'd have a practice, then you'd go overnight, think about it, have 2 more practices on Saturday to get ready for the race. We used to be able to sling a lot of different setup changes at it and get it dialed in for the race. Now we have to show up and basically be at our best. So you rely really heavily on simulation and your time in the simulator to make sure that when you get there, you're at your best. And if you're not, you need to go back and look at why you weren't and try and post that in the simulator and make some changes to say, all right, if we were going to go back tomorrow, right, everybody's a Monday morning quarterback. So now with a simulator, you can go back and do that. You can go back and say, all right, if we were to go back tomorrow, we would do this, this, and this, and you go back and see if it is indeed better.
I'm excited to see how all of that translates to on-track performance with the Stewart-Haas group, of course, because just watching what you guys did last week with Kevin Harvick, you just mentioned kind of building on that. Now you're starting on the front row. Eric, thank you so much for your time.
All right, don't lose me this weekend. Hopefully we get it in tonight. It's freezing cold, but we got a red paint scheme tonight. It's the spiral ham, so hopefully everybody goes and buys a ham for Easter.
I love it. I love it.
And they watch Bristol.
There you go. Awesome. Thanks, Eric. Appreciate it.
All right. Have a good night.
Every driver so far has been a budding meteorologist, has told us what's been going on. Let's take a look at the favorites in tonight's race. Who are you talking about, Jamie?
Well, I was going to take Truex until we interviewed him, and now he's got me just a little bit nervous. So I think I'm going to take William Byron up on the top. He won the truck race on Thursday night. Looked like he had a pretty good car yesterday, Larry.
So you left me the guy that won the last time we were there, Alex Bowman down there, plus 1,400. All the Hendrick cars, you heard Clint talk about it, all the Hendrick cars are really fast.
Really fast. How about the long shots? Of course, provided by our friends at Fox Bet. What do you think?
I'm going to start on the top of that list, and I'm going to go with Kurt Busch. He has won here twice. It was a pretty big time between his 2 wins, and it's been a while since he won, so maybe tonight is his night.
You know what? I like the guy sitting on the outside of the second row, Chris Buescher in that 17 car, RFK Racing plus 8,000. He was also good in practice on some of the long run stuff. Maybe this is where RFK can get a bright moment for 2022.
We should have taken Todd Gilliland. He's in the top 10 in qualifying, had a pretty good car, and look at the odds, Shannon. Based on your math, I'm scared that you're not going to get that out.
I see 80 zeros up there.
Lots of zeros.
What about Ross Chastain? How about that? He is actually standing by with Michael Waltrip, who I think would make a good meteorologist. Michael Waltrip could join the ranks of our drivers so far. Here's a little grid walk action from Martinsville. Take it away, Michael.
Hello, Shannon. It's Michael reporting from Pit Road here in Martinsville, where it's chilly. I'm wondering, Ross, this is a question that's been burning in my mind. Is this optimal weather for growing watermelons?
No. Florida is right now, but not here.
So we need a little bit more temperature, not only for melons, but also for this track to dry. What are you hearing from NASCAR as to when we might go racing?
That's a very serious interview, Michael. 8:20. I take the over/under at 8:19.5, so I'll take the over.
Well, I try to be serious every now and then so people know that I'm getting deep inside information out of you. We just talked about long shots and winners, and were both of those when the season started. This place reminds me of a road course, the way you're constantly shifting and all the action that's going on. I'll tell you something else real quick. I went 0 for 56 here. I couldn't drive a car with both hands. How are you doing all this shifting?
Well, maybe that's my problem. The GoPro Chevy in qualifying, I think I took a right like I was at COTA, but there's only left turns here. So I'm struggling. And obviously both of my teammate Daniel is. I think he's a little bit better than me. So we've got to get our GoPro Chevy turning better, and we'll be okay.
Okay. Have a fun spring when those melons start going. Hey, Paul, this is pretty serious action. You got to get the ground dry, right?
Very serious action. If it's not dry, we're going to slip. Driver won't get out of their pit box. We got to be on it.
On it. When I think of on it, I think of Paul Swan. He's a serious basketball player and a great athlete. Corey, is this like commercial action stuff?
Yeah.
How you feeling?
we're wedged in between the guy who won last week and the hottest guy in NASCAR, Ross Chastain. So we're in a decent spot. We need to go forwards, but I think this Built Bar Camaro can do it.
I think so, too. How do you feel about your season so far? That top 5 at Atlanta, that was pretty awesome.
Yeah, we've got 2 good ones and about 5 bad ones. So hopefully we can have another going tonight, and if we can turn it around, Martinsville's about to do it.
It certainly is a great racetrack. I love what you said on your social media. Saturday night, short track action. How good does it feel to be a part of NASCAR and being on this great stage here in Martinsville?
I love Martinsville. I love the fans here at Martinsville. They're always pumped up. Once we get this thing dry, we're going to put on a show.
Yeah, and tell me about one last thing. I'm trying to be serious today. The hair in this weather, is it doing like you hope? Like hanging in?
Me. How's it look?
Looks pretty. I'd say it looks very intimidating to the competition. I see Harrison Burton down here. I'm going to get his opinion on a serious question as well. Harrison, you drive for the Wood Brothers. You're in Martinsville, Virginia. How cool is that?
It's amazing. I was at Stewart, and on Wednesday got to see the whole museum, got to drive David Pearson's car that was going to drive before the race, but the rain kind of put a hammer to that. So just so neat to drive for this family-oriented team and try and go get a good run for him here at Martinsville.
Break down the action last night. What did you think about Sam Myers? It's just short track racing. How'd you like that cover?
He did a good impression of my good buddy Joey, and yeah, that was a wild race. I know the fans had fun here watching. I had fun on my motorhome. I was going nuts. So I'm just a fan of racing, so it's pretty fun for me to just get behind and watch those guys go to work. That's a tough series. I just came out of it, and those guys get after it.
Do you ever pinch yourself and say, I drive for the Wood Brothers? This has got to be the coolest thing in the world.
It is, and just to try and carry on the legacy that came before me with the great drivers. I mean, you know all about it, obviously, and so it's a true honor, and, I'm just happy to try and carry on that legacy.
Well, have fun racing when we get going. It's not going to be long down here, Shannon. The track is drying. The teams are excited. There's a lot of energy. A lot of energy, right?
A lot of energy. Enough energy to stay warm.
There you have it. Shannon, I'm going to have a fun time down here on pit road watching these guys.
Take me over there, Michael. Let's see how dry this racetrack is. Can you go over to the track?
Come with
and
me.
let's
Yeah,
see?
I'd love that.
I knew what you were doing there, Michael, by the way. You being serious about the meteorologist and the serious stuff with Ross Chastain. I don't think he got it.
It's looking pretty good. Yeah, it's looking dry.
Well, I want to break down this track right now. We have a really dry groove. The concrete's dry. We have a really dry groove down the middle of the front straightaway, but up top and down low, it's still wet. The weather, though, it's very dry down here. I feel sniffles. There's no humidity, so it's really going to help this track drying process. And that's what it's all about. When you have a weather system come through, the backside of it generally is a drier system, and therefore enabling the team here at NASCAR, the track drying team, to get the work done in a hurry.
What about the barometric pressure?
Jim Cantori, eat your heart out.
What about what, Larry?
The barometric pressure.
He's like, that's it. Bye, Michael.
He's going to find somebody else.
Bye, Michael.
I just want to thank y'all for the opportunity to be a meteorologist. I feel like I really brought it.
We love you. We love you, Michael.
I'm with Ross. It's going to be under 820. I'm feeling a little better about it.
Yeah, we love you, Michael. Have fun out there. Time now for a little no meteorology, no weather. It's actually hit the gas, pump the brakes. And we will go with this one first. Brad Keselowski makes the playoffs. We talked earlier in the show how he got hit with that penalty, 100 points, $100,000, a big hill to climb up, Larry. But what do you think?
Yeah, I know what my heart's saying, but my brain's telling me pump the brakes. I mean, they're starting to get some consistency. 3 consecutive top 15 finishes, but Brad said it. We're going to have to win. I know we have a Talladega, we have a Daytona coming up, but I just don't know if it's going to happen the way the situation they're in.
Yeah, I'm going to go with my heart and stick with it, and I'm going to say that I'm going to hit the gas. I think that he can. It's just going to come down to 2 races, though, for Brad. He's won 6 times at Talladega. He also had the best car in the Daytona 500 earlier this year. I think you'll see a little more drive out of him at those type tracks because that's going to be where he has to get it done at.
Might be a little mad, too, right? He wants to go out there and do it. All right, Stewart-Haas Racing gets to 2 wins before Joe Gibbs Racing. What do you think? Of course, Joe Gibbs getting their first win last week.
Yeah, I'm going to hit the gas on this as well. I think back to Chase Briscoe winning at Phoenix earlier this year. We saw Kevin Harvick run second at Phoenix last weekend. It seems like all the Stewart-Haas cars are starting to run a little bit better, so I'm going to stick with, I'm going to stick with them.
Oh.
Yeah, this is probably a tough one to really say, but I will pump the brakes. Now, if I look at the qualifying sheet, I'm going, I've got this totally wrong because Stewart-Haas Racing have 3 in the top 10, Joe Gibbs Racing, they have 1. But I just believe these tracks we're coming up on right now, they're going to just continue to fall right in Joe Gibbs Racing's playhouse, even though we've got this new car we're
doesn't matter where you start.
And I think either way, it's been a really good recovery for Stewart-Haas Racing this year from where they were last year.
No
It
question.
seemed like they were obviously struggling a little bit last year. They're on track right now.
Yeah, it's great to see Kevin Harvick running up front last week. All right, Logano breaks the winless streak. Speaking of Kevin Harvick, before Kevin Harvick, obviously both of these guys, Martinsville winners. Joey does have a win at Bristol, where we're going next week. Larry, what do you say?
This one is so tough. Can I cover both sides and say pump the gas?
Or hit the brake, hit the gas?
I'm gonna hit the gas.
His own joke. That's so good.
I'm going to hit the gas. You know, I look at some of these tracks that were coming up. The Bristol Dirt Race next week, Talladega. I think Kevin and them, they are close, but I think Joey's going to find it first. I don't think it's going to be tonight, but I think Joey finds it first.
Yeah, I'm going to pump the brakes on this one. I just talked about Harvick running second last weekend at Richmond and where it looks like Stewart-Haas is right now. Some good tracks coming up for Kevin Harvick, Rodney Childers. I think we might see him get to victory lane first.
All right, speaking of the track, let's head back out there. Mike, Clint, and Chad to see how things are going out there with track drying efforts. Guys, take it away.
Well, Clint's been hitting the gas, but we have had Martinsville hot dogs in the booth, so that happens. Now, the new car, the next-gen car, first appearance at all these tracks, including the half-mile Martinsville Speedway. How does it measure up to the car we used to race? We're going to show you Clint's fastest lap from his last race here in 2020 and Chase Elliott's pole lap from yesterday, and compare them.
Yeah, check this out. It's amazing. For me, right off the bat, look how much harder he can get in the corner. Rolls into the corner way faster, gets the thing rotated and back to the gas. It tells me this thing has 1.5 inches more tire underneath of it, more braking. So you always have to get in the corner hard, and if you can do that, you're going to be fast anywhere. But I just think the overall grip of this car is just much greater than what we had before. And I think that's showing in the racing, on the product every single week we've had this year.
Yeah,
Any surprise there?
No, not at all, because as we were talking about earlier, Clint, I think the independent rear suspension, along with the larger rear tire and larger front tire, it just gives the car more fundamental grip. We've always talked about the underwing on these race cars and how it generates downforce, right? So you're able to get that speed, get that downforce, and go a little bit faster.
That was an impressive lap for 2020.
There's one
and you
more...
were really competitive here.
Yeah, I love this racetrack. A lot of fun here. You know, one of my favorite wins that I ever had with the family aspect. It's the fans that are just so close to the action. Great memories here. Always love this place. But the other aspect of this, there was shifting.
Oh.
That's what we're going to see a lot of. It's going to be the name of the game today or tonight for all these drivers. And I think that was a big part of how fast that thing launched off the corners for Chase Elliott.
And that'll be fun to watch. Third and fourth gear in play here. Shannon?
I wonder how many hot dogs Clint Boyer has eaten this weekend out of Martinsville.
He don't look like a hot dog.
No, you don't
he
think
never
so?
stops talking.
Beer and hot dog, Clint. How about that? A little beer, a little hot dog.
Terrible joke, Mike. Terrible joke.
I thought it was funny.
Has had a hot dog or two in it. That's not today.
They're good.
You better watch. You got a long
Loaded.
night up there with him tonight, Clint. Long night. Thanks, guys. We'll check back in a few minutes. Those guys are getting testy already. You know what? Listen, one of the teams that we've had our eyes on all season long, of course, is Trackhouse Racing. You got Daniel Suarez in his second season at that team. 3 top 10s this season. And if you take that and compare it to last year, he had 4 top 10s all of last season. So certainly that team has come to 2022 ready to race. He also has a 10th place finish at Martinsville in his career. Let's say hello to our amigo right now, Daniel Suarez, out at Martinsville. Let's start with your starting position, however. I know it's a long race. I know that there's a lot that can happen in this race, but you are starting all the way back in the field in 30th. Your thoughts and your game plan, Daniel.
Hello, Shannon. I hope
Hi.
you're doing amazing. I'm super cold here. Maybe you can tell, but I'm shaking a little bit. But no, I mean, talking a little bit about racing, my car is actually, it's been pretty fast. It hasn't been handling great, but it's been fast. And I'm happy with that. We just have to make the car handle a little bit better. Hopefully, we already made some adjustment from yesterday for today and see what we got. But honestly, I'm confident of what we got, and I think we're going to be able to pass a lot of cars tonight.
So, Daniel, you've made 10 starts at Martinsville. You've got a couple of top 10 finishes. I know you never raced there in the Xfinity Series, but what's the first thing you thought when you saw this little half-mile paperclip racetrack with concrete corners?
Honestly, it's just different than everything else I have run. You know, obviously growing up in Mexico, we have we have some short tracks in Mexico, but everything is different. Everything is very bumpy over there and quite different than here. But it's been different. I really learned that obviously braking zones are extremely important. People say that if you are good in braking zones in road course kind of racetracks, most likely you're going to be fine here in Martinsville. And I have come to realize that, even though that it has taken me some time. But yeah, it's been a fun time here in Martinsville in the past. I feel like I have had great cars. I have had bad cars as well. And I honestly feel, even though that we're starting deep in the field, I feel like we have a good one for tonight.
Hey, amigo, first off, I got to say, as soon as you came on, we all started smiling because your enthusiasm, your excitement, it's contagious among all of us up here. So it's great to see that you're having a good time. I want to go back just a couple of races to COTA, the last road course race. You lead every lap in the first stage. It looks like you've got the car to beat. Obviously, you get a flat on the next restart. You then have some power steering issues. But your teammate, Ross Chastain, wins. Was it bittersweet, though, to know that you probably had the car to beat and then for your teammate to go on and win?
You know, it was a very, very tough weekend for me because on Saturday we were, in my opinion, probably one of the best cars, if not the best car. On Sunday, the same thing. A lot of people didn't know this until now, but we started having steering issues in the middle of stage one. So we were leading the race and we were already having issues with the steering. And even with those issues, I thought we were going to be fine. That's why we decided to stay also out in that stage one to be able to get some points just in case something was going to happen. And then we got the flat, and then the steering went off completely. My shoulders were destroyed. Obviously, when you have a car that fast, you want to win. Once the steering went completely off and I could barely turn the car, probably on lap 28, lap 30 by the end of stage two, at that point I knew I wasn't going to be able to win the race, even though I had the best car. And at that point I was only pulling for the one, and already they had a fast car as well, and they were able to do everything correct to make it happen.
So, Daniel, I heard a man say one time, there's no one better, there's no one smarter than all of us working together. Now, you've driven for some multi-core operations. You drove at Joe Gibbs Racing, at Stewart-Haas Racing. And when I look at some of these organizations, a lot of them talk the talk. They talk about how they're pulling for their teammates. But I get a feeling at Trackhouse Racing, it's truly one team fielding two cars. But I think that's what Justin Marks has kind of mandated. This is the way we're going to operate.
Yeah, honestly, Larry, it's been such a pleasure to be part of this journey with Trackhouse Racing since the very beginning, because I have seen the plans since it was only on paper, and then it started to become reality, and now here we are with a strong organization of two cars working together. I enjoy a lot working with Ross and with Phil, his crew chief, and his entire team. We share a lot of information. We really try to help each other, and at the same time, obviously, we're very competitive. So we want to also try to keep pushing each other to keep getting better. So it's been a lot of fun, and we're looking forward to keep pushing ourselves.
You know, Daniel, every driver team has certain tracks or favorite tracks that they feel like they're going to either run well at or win at. What coming at the schedule ahead? What tracks do you have circled that you think that's the place we could get our win? I know you ran well at the Bristol Dirt Track, which you said was a little bit of a surprise. But where do you see the 99 team maybe being able to get to victory lane?
You know, Jamie, something good about our team right now is that I feel like we're strong most of the places that we go. Richmond was, I would say, that the first race that we actually didn't have a lot of speed. But everywhere else, I feel like we've been good. Over the road course races, I feel like we're going to be extremely strong based on our performance in COTA. But you never know. I mean, last year, I had no experience in dirt, and we finished in the top 5 somehow. So you never know. I feel like we just have to keep positive mindset, keep working very hard, keep pushing ourselves, and the wins are going to come. I have no doubt about that.
I don't see your teeth chattering anymore, but I do want to tell you that it's 82 degrees in Monterey right now, just in case you were wondering.
Let me tell you that
really?
My Coke is not cold. This is very warm, and you see?
Look at, you got the sponsor in and everything. Good job, Daniel. We love it. Hey, good luck out there. It's always a pleasure to catch up with you.
Thank you, guys. Have fun.
Awesome. Well, I mean, what can you say about Trackhouse Racing, right? I mean, we knew that they were going to be a different looking team this season, and they really have started off on not only the right foot once, but twice.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a lot of pleasant surprises about 2022, but I would probably have to put that one at the top of the chart. When you think about where they were last year, a single car team, kind of getting their arms around a car that was going to be going away, and then they change shops, they add a second team, they have to deal with this next-gen car, and to see how both of those teams and both of those drivers have performed has been just sort of miraculous. But I still believe that they buy into the resources they have. They buy into the tools that are at their disposal, and they are truly working together.
Yeah, I was over there a couple weeks ago. I interviewed Ross after he won at COTA, and I asked those guys, I'm like, what do you think has been different this year? Even there's the Ganassi group and the Trackhouse group that have merged. I'm like, what's been different this year than maybe last year? Why are you having this success? And I felt like everyone, they didn't know the answer to that. But then one of the guys stepped up and he's like, we're not focused on anybody else. And over the years, if HMS is running well or if it's Penske, you're taking pictures of their cars or you're in the garage and you're always a few weeks behind because you see the shiny new object and then you go back and you try to build that. And he's like, we're just focused on our program right now, and they have a really good group of people. And I think that Justin, Ty Norris, that whole group, they've changed the culture over there, and they all get along really well, and that's a huge part of this.
That reminds me so much of what Jimmy and Chad used to say when they were running. It doesn't matter what anybody else does. It only matters what we are doing. And, of course, they had a lot of success, and a lot of success at Martinsville. A place, obviously, that you have to have a little aggressive nature to get some victories. Tempers run high. Another guy who knows a lot about that is Denny Hamlin.
The pushing is coming to shoving here.
They see who's coming for me. I usually don't see him, so it's usually not a fact. I was just so mad. I'm okay with wrecking for the lead on the white flag lap. But this is a ticket to Homestead, and I tried to move him out of the way and spun out.
Go! I'm here!
You don't need to push me and run away like a little.
I wanted to win.
He's Crash Guy's here for wins. It's just an absolute hack.
Earlier it was like Michael doing Sam, doing Denny, doing Joey with the whole short track racing thing. Right. But it's true. I mean, this is one track that I always have circled on the calendar because you just know that it's going to fill up your highlight reel.
Yeah, and it's great that we use Denny right there because he's been involved more than most at this. Yeah, obviously but
he's won 5 times.
Short track, and that's why he's been involved in all those because he's been able or had a car capable of winning many more races than he did, and had that maybe taken away in a last lap incident.
Yeah, there's a little restaurant just up the highway before you get to Martinsville called Clarence's. We would always stop there and eat breakfast. And I would tell the drivers I was working with, I would tell my crew members, let's take our feelings and emotion and let's leave them here at Clarence's. And we'll pick them back up when we leave here because if we take them over inside that racetrack, they're probably going to get hurt and they're going to get checked in the
What was his aunt's name? Beatrice?
Aunt Blanche.
Yeah.
Clarence's restaurant, you're welcome right there. We got a little shout out. Let's do our race picks. Why don't we? Got a little time before we head trackside. Who's going first? Jamie, you want to go first?
I'll go first. Okay. Yeah, I'm going to go with the guy that won the truck race on Thursday night, William Byron. I think that he came close to winning last week at Richmond. Obviously, pit strategy was just a little bit off. Denny Hamlin was able to get the win. I just think that William Byron could be the guy. I don't think it's a surprise either. He's run really well at this track.
Yeah, I loved how you picked William Byron right before we interviewed Chase Elliott a while ago.
One of the better parts of my TV career, Larry.
Well, you know what? I like the fact the last 2 years we've had to make our picks with no practice to go off of. But I watched practice very closely yesterday. We interviewed him a while ago. Chase Elliott, he's on the pole, short run speed, but more importantly, long run speed.
See, we should have had you talk right before we did Chase Elliott. That would have been. Hey, I'm going to go Martin Truex Jr. because I think Michael Waltrip said you can't spell Martinsville without Martin.
That's what he said.
Yeah, I mean, it's in there. So that's going to be my driver to win today. 3-time winner at the track. I know he didn't sound a ton of confidence.
He didn't sound optimistic.
He didn't, but it's a long race, 400 laps. We'll see what happens. Speaking of racing, drivers are in their car. Those helmets are on. So let's go trackside for command to start engines.
My friends, hear me now. It's go time. It's go time. It's go, no go, lock and load, and love them and leave them, smoke them if you got them, see you, want to see you on the other side. Time. It's time for the Blue-Emu Maximum Pain Relief 400. And now, please welcome your Grand Marshal, Whit Blattner. Drivers, start your engines!
first guy said, but I like it. I like everything about that. I also like that we fired engines at Martinsville, which means we're going to go racing under the lights, coming back here on FS1.
Tick-tock.
Go get us the grandfather clock.
This racetrack is called the Half Mile of Mayhem.
Racing under the lights in Martinsville, Virginia.
This track will test a driver's skills.
Nice stop, guys.
Short track racing is fun. It doesn't get any better than this.
Fox Sports welcomes you to the Blue-Emu Maximum Pain Relief 400 on FS1 at the little short track that thinks it's a super speedway in Henry County, Virginia. Wonderful place, and for only the second time since this track was paved in 1955, the race length is less than 500 laps. It's a 400 lapper tonight, but still, with Chad Knaus and Clint Boyer, I'm Mike Joy, and the story is always brakes.
I'm telling you, if you want to get that grandfather clock this weekend, you are going to have to pay attention to your brakes. Corner entry here is so treacherous right now with these bigger brakes. Guys are having a very difficult time locking up the left front tire. The left front tire is very lightly loaded on corner entry here. These guys are blocking up the brakes, sliding up the track. On restarts, this is going to be a critical aspect of the race.
Now let's add something new. Shifting.
Yeah, Chad, I'm picking up what you're putting down, but I'm telling you, folks, shifting's the name of the game with this car. Fourth gear to third gear. Fourth gear is high gear. Watch this as he downshifts into the corner. Austin Cindric gets in the corner, hits that downshift, and look how bad it upset that car. I think somebody will spin out getting into the corner because of a downshift gone wrong. The flip side of that is, as you can adjust, you hit that downshift, that thing gets loose getting into the corner, you'll see them adjust inside the car, roll that thing off into the corner, make sure it's stable, and then downshift. A lot of different ways to use that shifting for your advantage here at Martinsville tonight.
So in all your engineering and all your simulations, did you plan for that?
We didn't. We thought it was a possibility. Obviously, leading up to this weekend, we all talked about shifting. Phoenix, Richmond, a lot of the racetracks we've gone to, it's a real thing. As you start to get tire degradation, you want to try to get that RPM up. But the thing it's really interesting.
What did you just say? Tire
degradation, tire fall off.
Does that come
tire
from 1,600 shifts around here tonight?
Fall off.
1,600 of them.
Here's the thing. Everybody thinks that's for acceleration here around Martinsville, is why you're going to want to downshift. Not necessarily the case. You also want that because it's going to help your car rotate through the center of the corner.
That's a much better understanding.
I
like the rotation. I can understand that. Tire, whatever.
Well, can you understand what happened here last night? 250 lap Xfinity race.
Holy cow.
And it all came down to the finish on the narrow straightaway here.
Beating and banging.
Sam Mayer's going for that $100,000 bonus in the one. He roughs up Ty Gibbs, moves him out of the way, as Gibbs himself has done several times this year. And Gibbs goes after him and lands a couple of haymakers, giving both Mayer and Ty Gibbs about an hour visit with the NASCAR officials in the hauler after the race. After, of course, they were separated.
That race over-delivered from start to finish. I didn't think they were ever going to get that thing done. At one point, I looked down and I think every car was in a wreck.
Oh, by the way, Brandon Jones won the race.
And did a good job of it.
Yep. In his final Cup season, Tampa, Florida's Eric Almirola has been making some noise. Started the season with a bunch of top 10 finishes in a row. And now he comes to Martinsville, and he's on the outside pole.
Sure is. Let's dial him up. Hey, Eric Almirola, it's Boyer and the boys up in the Fox Sports booth. You got us?
Yes, sir. I got you, buddy.
How about you now? Great night yesterday in practice, qualifying on the front row. Tell me what you have for a hot rod and what you expect here tonight.
I feel pretty good about it. Our Smithfield Ford Mustang was really good in practice. We ran 50 laps straight, and it did all the things I needed it to do for Martinsville. It rolled the middle pretty good and launched up off the corners with a lot of rear grip. So we'll see. It's a lot of unknowns with this new car. A lot of things different, you know, downshifting in the corners, upshifting on the straightaways. We're a lot busier inside the car than we ever have been at Martinsville, and this is already a pretty busy place, but I felt pretty good about it. I felt like Drew and the boys brought me a hot rod, so we'll see. Saturday night short track and under the lights. It's going to be fun.
Well, man, as a teammate, you've always been good here. This is one of your best racetracks. Looking forward to watching it. Good luck out there, buddy.
Thank you, bud.
All right, let's take a look at tonight's starting grid, sponsored by Blue-Emu Maximum Pain Relief. Chase Elliott won here in November 2020. He's starting on the pole, looking for his first win of the season. Almirola top 10 in half of the last 6 races here. Chevy Ford front row. Fords in row 2, Cole Custer matched his best ever Cup start, and Chris Buescher finished a Martinsville best 9th last fall. Row 3, William Byron won the truck race here Thursday, top 10 in 4 of the last 5 here, and last week's runner-up, Kevin Harvick in a Ford. Row 4, Christopher Bell leading Toyota on the grid, top 10 in the last 2 races, and Kyle Larson. Martinsville's the only short track he's not won at in the Cup Series. Row 5, Brad Keselowski in a Ford, 2-time Martinsville winner, and rookie Todd Gilliland in a Ford has his best Cup Series start. You'll see Kyle Busch, Ryan Blaney in row 6, and the rest of the field along the bottom of your screen. And here's the rest of our team ready to bring you late-breaking stories, beginning with our birthday girl, Jamie Little.
Hey, Mike, thanks so much. Yes, I've had about as much fun this weekend as William Byron. He won the Truck Series race on Thursday night, and then on Friday qualified his Cup car 5th for this race. Now, all eyes have been on the 24 and the Hendrick cars as a whole. A great pace, a lot of speed in these cars. I talked to Rudy Fugel, his crew chief, and he said, hey, if he could take care of his equipment tonight, everything from the gearbox to the brakes, we have a shot at going to victory lane. Regan Smith.
Well, Jamie, every time we come to Martinsville, Martin Truex Jr. is one of the guys to watch. 3 wins in the last 5 races here and very strong. But it's been a different story for this team this weekend. They've struggled to get this race car to Martin's liking, to get him through the corners the way that he likes to get through the corners at this racetrack, to have speed. They made what adjustments they could prior to this race tonight. But if he's going to get that 4th win out of 6 races, Martin is going to have to be up on the wheel and perfect all night long. Larry McReynolds?
Well, Regan, Chad, and Mike, Clint may not know what tire degradation is, but he complained about it severely for about 15 years. Martinsville will challenge everything about the race team and about the race car, but let me let you look at something here on our Credit One race analysis. There's a lot of good information here, but what I'm looking at, those stage links, 80, 120, 180, and 220. Now, a fuel window is about 150 to 155 laps, so we don't have to worry about fuel in the first 2 stages. But if you're back in the pack and you're struggling for track position, you may try to pit off sequence and get that track position. That's actually what won the truck race on Thursday night and Xfinity Series race last night, Mike.
Thanks, Larry. We're going to depend on you for strategy all night long. The track is dry. There is the possibility of more rain in the forecast tonight. So NASCAR's policy is an official race is half the total distance or the end of stage 2, whichever comes first, and in this case, lap 180 would be the end of stage 2. That's where we need to get to be done tonight. You're going to ride along our subway cam for Kevin Harvick.
Starting 6th tonight. Kevin's definitely one to watch tonight. And as you go and you look at Blaney starting in 12th position, I think he's always had the short run speed here, but I don't think we saw it in practice as much as what we maybe thought.
The Penske cars have always been fast here. You know, even with the 2 car we talked about, Brad Keselowski, when he was in that car, they always had success here. I'm looking forward to watching Austin Cindric because we're rode along with him a lot yesterday. Loved what I saw with the shifting aspect of that. It just didn't have the speed, to your point, Chad, that we're always accustomed to here. So maybe they made some adjustments.
You know, and looking at Kurt Busch, I watched them in practice, and I know I said it last week, and unfortunately they had a mechanical issue with their ECU and had to come in and went many laps down trying to repair that. In practice yesterday, they may not have qualified as well as what they wanted.
You already jinxed him last week.
I know, I'm sorry, Kurt, but your lap times looked really good yesterday, and I think you got a shot to get up there and run for this thing.
I agree with you. I think both of those 2311 cars were fast. Bubba Wallace was fast. Talked to him in his interview. Had a lot of confidence as a race car. I think they're going to have a good night. I agree with you.
36-car field. A.J. Allmendinger did not get to qualify, so he will start out back. Here's today's Ford track facts. Now, how about this? Here's the highest finishing Ford in every race this season, and note there are no repeaters. 2 victories, Austin Cindric at Daytona, Chase Briscoe at Phoenix, but the highest finishing Ford has been a different driver every single week. Who's next?
That's interesting.
Larry, brakes have always been the story for every one of the 22 years that you and I have called these races on Fox.
No, it's the one thing drivers and teams focus on every time we come to Martinsville, regardless of what type of car we come with, because of these long straightaways into those U-turns. So let's go to our Ford cutaway car, and let's show you something about brake temperatures. What you're going to see is this huge brake package inside that 18-inch rim. And, of course, you've got different components. You've got the rotors. You've got the calipers. You've got the pads. Look at this right here. Caliper, 450 degrees Fahrenheit. The rotor, 1,150 degrees Fahrenheit. And the brake pad, over 1,700 degrees. Now, I know that sounds hot, but we have learned these brakes need this type of heat in them to operate. We've been hearing a lot about brake shake because they don't get them hot enough, but one of the brake guys told me this week shouldn't be a problem here because the straightaways are so short, Mike.
Short straightaways, they look long when you're standing atop this racetrack because of those tight U-turns at either end. What a great shot this is.
It is, and I can tell you tonight you're going to definitely see those rotors glowing. You know, we saw some guys put together 30, 40, 50 lap runs in practice yesterday. And Clint, when I was standing down at turn 3 watching these cars roll around the racetrack, they're already getting red hot, and I could see that in the middle of the day. So definitely tonight under the lights, these guys get into a 25, 30 lap run, you're going to see some high rotor temps.
That's not the only thing you're going to see out of these cars. Flames out of both sides. A lot of color tonight. Fire on the brakes, out of the pipes. Love what I see.
Well, you still have a chance to win $5,000 of Clint's cash. Play Fox Bet Super 6. And all you need to do is scan the QR code now, download the Super 6 app, and enter your picks about today's race for a free shot of your share at the jackpot. And here are the questions, including question 6, best finish by drivers who have not yet won at Martinsville.
I think it's a great opportunity to have some fun with us. I'm telling you, Fox Bet Super 6, free download. Get on there, put your picks in, come and get it.
Over $80,000 of Clint's cash gone this season to you folks for your correct guesses.
I need a ride home, Chad. Which is not good. I just asked the guy that bummed a ride with Jeff Gordon on the helicopter here. So, man, maybe you think Quinn can ride, huh?
Hey, man. Maybe we'll dial up Gordon here in a little bit and see what he's up to. He's down on pit road somewhere getting cold.
Love the look of that 12 car this weekend. That paint scheme's cool looking.
How about we dial up William Byron, the truck race winner here earlier this weekend, and listen in.
A whole lot of people here to watch us race tonight, so Seth was on to kick the butt. Thank you guys. I've worked really hard. I've had a really good few weeks, so let's keep it up.
William rolls off 5th. Chase Elliott has elected the inside.
I tell you what, we heard William Byron right there, excuse me, but that car, if you want to talk about a mean-looking paint scheme, that Raptor paint scheme on William Byron's car, he better be aggressive because that car sure looks like it, eating up the competition.
Yeah, we talked about it. His confidence right now is soaring. He's been spending his off time running some late models. He's got a dirt late model he's running this week, Clint. You know, that's really great for William, obviously getting prepared to go run Bristol. He is really starting to attack this. He and Rudy, their communication is at such a high level. And, man, he's bringing home trophies. And if you can bring home a trophy, when you wake up in the morning and you see that, you're immediately going to feel like that you're going to go faster the next weekend. So he's doing a great job, along with that whole 24 team, honestly.
75 years of racing at Martinsville Speedway, one of NASCAR's original tracks. Red Byron won here in 1949 when this track was new. Lee Petty, 3 wins in the 1950s. His son Richard got 8 in the 1960s and 7 more in the 70s.
Wow.
In the 80s, there was DW with 9 Martinsville victories. In the 90s, Rusty Wallace scored 5 times. And in the 2000s, hey, Chad, you and Jimmy Johnson with 6 wins. And in this decade, so the 10s, a tie, Martin Truex in the 20s, 2 wins so far.
Yeah, how many did Jeff Gordon have?
Oh, easy, boy. Don't forget how you got home.
Hey, that helicopter may not stop at your house tonight, but they will open the door for you.
9 times total Jeff Gordon has won here, man. 9 times. It was just spread out a little bit more.
I tell you what, just all the names on that list. A legendary racetrack, a racetrack that is so hard to tame. The discipline it takes to get around this place. And, man, I tell you, from Jeff Gordon and Jimmy coming in and learning from guys like Jeff Gordon, DW before then, the guys that can get it done at this racetrack, in my opinion, were some of the best race car drivers this sport's ever had.
For most of its history, Martinsville was host to the Grand Nationals, which is now the Cup Series, and the Modifieds, and the Late Model Sportsman, which became the Busch Series and is now Xfinity. Martinsville's all-time winningest driver, Richmond, Virginia's Ray Hendrick, with 20 victories at this place. And this season, 7 races, 7 different faces. Does that streak continue tonight? I think so.
I think you get another winner. I do. I think a lot of those guys are definitely capable, but I think this track really lends itself to the aggressive nature that somebody's going to go out there and take this thing to try to get their first victory of the season.
I honestly, if my money's going on race cars, them cars on the front row, I know that's such an obvious answer, but I'm telling you, don't sleep on 10 and Eric Almirola. I said it in an interview there, and I'm telling you, this is one of his best racetracks. He's always got around here good, and I think that 9 car is the heat this weekend. Was so fast yesterday in practice.
New sponsor there. Well, not new. They've been with the Hendrick before. Lumar Window Film. They are headquartered right here in Martinsville, Virginia.
Talk about delivering for a sponsor. You know, a local sponsor right here in Martinsville and then delivering a pole for them. Pretty cool story.
That's my pick tonight. I got to go. I got to stay in home, man. But I got to keep in the HMS camp. But I really, really feel that 9 car is going to be the car to beat. The car looked fantastic in practice yesterday. And Chase is a driver that really understands this racetrack. And Clint, you've talked about it. You need to know this track to be able to run well at it, and Chase knows it.
Jet Dryer's doing a little more work on pit road. Let's take a look at this season with the next-gen car compared to 1 year ago so far. We've had more leaders, far more lead changes, about the same number of cautions, and the final lead change happening very late in the race.
And this graphic right here that we're looking at is, as I heard you saying, all right, we're picking our cars, right? Took the obvious, the fastest cars here on the front row. I'm telling you, if we've learned anything this year with this new car in particular, the shifting, all the things that these guys have had to overcome, you never know whose night it's going to be.
And this was, everybody said this car was going to be an equalizer. It was going to bring the competitors closer together. It was going to be more difficult for the crew chiefs and the teams to find an advantage. It was going to be more difficult for the drivers to get out there and find an advantage. And we're seeing it.
But Larry Mack, how different is it that you have your simulations, you have all your engineering, but you have no playbook because you've never raced this car here?
You know, Mike, we were talking to Eric Almirola, and we addressed that very thing with him. And what we're also learning, and Chad will know this, it's pre-race simulation, but post-race simulation. That is playing a huge role as well. We saw that a lot during all the winter testing, where you would do your simulation, you would go to the racetrack, and then go back to the simulator to see if the things that you were learning actually made sense.
Aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. With you for every mile on the road to greatness. Goodyear, more driven. Now this track now has a unique pit road. You're looking at turns 3 and 4. Everyone enters the pits at turn 3. The pits begin at the apex between 3 and 4 and come all the way down to the exit of turn 2. So instead of pitting on the front stretch or the back stretch, it's one way in and one way out.
Yeah, and you see them practicing where they're at. Most of them are rolling around the outside, and most of those guys practicing out the outside of 3 and 4 down there is because they're pitted down here in 1 and 2. I saw the 22 of Logano that's pitted down there on that end. He was rolling the inside, Chad, practicing where they're pitted.
And what's really interesting about this pit road is obviously we have a radius around the corners, and the turn radius and where you are on the inside or outside, Clint, has a huge role in how fast you are graded and how you go through pit road.
That may be why they had 11 speeding penalties here last fall, the most in any race of 2021.
Yeah, Mike, in fact, in the last 10 races, there's been a total of 74. The last 4 races, there's been 35 penalties for speeding on pit road. Always really fights these drivers.
And how many of those were Denny Hamlin?
and look, to a lot of these drivers' credit, we come down this pit road with a very, very low tire pressure. And as you start to leave your pit box, you're trying to roll that radius, that soft tire, that low tire pressure is like a sponge, and it just kind of bounces and it'll start to buck. And it's really difficult for the drivers to maintain a consistent RPM. And that's why the crew chiefs and the engineers have to put a little buffer in there to make sure you don't get yourself caught.
But at the RPM, whether it's the tire pressure, this, I have always called it slack. It always was dictated off of the RPM that you were running. If you were down at like a 4,000 RPM, it thing bucked hard. If you had a pit road speed of like, say, 4,600, it seemed like it was in the torque curve of the camshaft that it didn't buck near as bad. This track with this tight pit stall, like you were saying, down in that low RPM, man, it was so hard to drag the brake and try to keep some consistency in the drivetrain.
And not to pick on Denny Hamlin, but he is very aggressive at being right up against that pit road speed limit, and he has had 9 speeding penalties here.
Denny didn't qualify very well.
Boys, we're ready. Track is ready. Tires are pumped up. These guys are ready to do battle.
And the lights are out atop the Ford F-150 Lightning. First time an electric truck has paced the race in the Cup Series. The pace truck is in. Chase Elliott, Eric Almirola will lead them to green for the first of 400 laps at Martinsville.
Even. Clear, come on up, you can hit your mark. So this 18 will be 1 off you on the bottom, all good.
That's Brad Keselowski's spotter. A.J. Allmendinger has served his pass-through penalty for inspection failure and is 1 lap down after 2 complete. Chase Elliott in front of Almirola by half a second. Here's what Chase Elliott and his team had to say after checking pit road speed prior to the start.
My page novel, or don't know why. So evidently it fell off, so we had to put a little bit of glue back on it. You might be able to turn it hard to see if it'll break it free. I'm afraid I'm going to break it. I mean, it's on there good. Copy, just leave it. We'll just need to be very careful in section 2.
So they can actually change pages on the dash is what that was. And sometimes, well, not sometimes, it will definitely have 1 or 2 different pages according to what that guy, the driver, says on his pit road speed. If they see that he's speeding, let's go adjust to page 2. Maybe it's farther down, a little bit slower way around, vice versa. Go slow, go to page 3.
Back at 21st, Martin Truex trying to make some noise on the outside of Tyler Reddick.
And right now, he's just hoping that we start to get some rubber to lay down on that type side of the racetrack so that he can maintain position. Because right now, you're so vulnerable being on the outside groove. The guys have the preferred line on the inside. And until we get a little bit lower in RPM, get the pace dropped down a little bit and some rubber out there, you're kind of in no man's land.
Stewart Haas teammates fighting for second place. Cole Custer's got it.
Again, so hard to manage these runs. Probably going to see a long run, no competition caution. So Eric Almirola, you see him struggling a little bit Doesn't have the takeoff speed, maybe a little bit loose, Chad.
Yeah, and I think we've seen that every race this year that we've come off the heels of an Xfinity race, the track is always super free to begin with. And we all know how treacherous it is right now, getting into the corners, downshifting, everything that's going on right there. I feel after we get past this first stage, the track's going to probably begin to tighten up a little bit.
But even on that conversation with Eric in the 10 car, I believe if he can hold on there, right, find a spot to ride here, hang on for 10, 15 laps, that might come right back to him.
100%.
Temperature here in the low 40s at Martinsville. The tires, well, they're not quite going to give off sparks, but we're pretty close into that range as Bubba Wallace has picked up a few spots since the start of this race. Now 18th, up 3.
Locked his wheel up getting into the corner in qualifying. Had a lot better car than they showed from where he's starting, so it doesn't surprise me a bit that Bubba's marching up through the field. I think his car's pretty good tonight.
Eric Jones down 4 spots since the start in the Petty GMS 43. Well, the 43 and the 21. Now there's a sight. That and the Wood Brothers car right together. See how that happens later in the race. Chase Elliott, due to that battle for second spot won by Cole Custer, he's now stretched it out by 1.1 seconds.
Car right there was the fastest car on the racetrack, 24, William Byron. Actually, about a tenth faster than a leader, even Chase Elliott.
Left front rotors are starting to glow a little bit, so we're only 14 laps into the race, and you're already seeing the guys start to punish the brakes, starting to use the brakes to get the car to turn.
How about Todd Gilliland, qualified 10th for Front Row Motorsports, running 11th. With Ryan Blaney and Joey Logano, a couple of the Penske forwards right behind him.
Had a truck win back in 2019. Great job making that top 10 with this company is a great qualifying effort for him. Front Row Motorsports.
3 Penske cars running in one tight group there.
I saw both rotors growing on the 12 of Ryan Blaney. Wasn't just the fronts, Chad.
Yeah, so once you start to see the rears glowing like that, that means the guys are really starting to put that rear brake in the car. As you know, we're coaching you that. You're just like, man, the car's starting to get tight. Okay, add some rear brake to that, Clint. Add some rear brake. That'll help the car rotate as you're dragging the brake around the corner.
Jamie Little.
And Bubba Wallace, you guys mentioned him in the 23. He qualified 21st. But I'll tell you guys, and you were agree, you were on the show yesterday, after his group went out for practice, he was fastest. And I have not seen Bubba that happy and optimistic about his race car in a long time. And I said, well, what happened in qualifying? He said, it's okay. Our car is not good on the short run. It's all about the long run. It'll take a little while to get up to speed, but I'm pretty happy with what we have.
Look at this race for second place. William Byron pulled right to the bumper of Cole Custer in that 41. The 24 car is extremely fast.
William Byron had co-crew chiefs for his truck win here the other night. Rudy Fugel, his cup crew chief, was up on the box with Kevin Mannion for that victory. Christopher Bell closing in 4th place.
Everybody's got a little color in their brakes. We have a little more in the front than the rear than most. Probably better flip our front fans on, please.
So that's a little trick you'll do to make sure that everything gets up to temperature. The crew chief will tell the driver, okay, let's keep our brake fans off until we get out there, run a handful of laps, get everything up to temperature, especially early on in the race. Get everything seated up really well to make sure you don't get that cold brake shake that you can potentially get. Now they're about 20 laps in the race. Hit your fans. Let's see if they get everything pulled back into a normal situation.
Both RFK Fords in the top 10. Brad Keselowski in 8th, Chris Buescher in 6th. Chase Elliott has led all 21 laps so far in Martinsville. "28 green flag laps complete. Chase Elliott out in front, and that means that Hendrick Motorsports has just become the first race organization ever to lead 10,000 laps in the Cup Series at a single track. 10,000 laps. How far is that, Clint?
All right, you ready for this? I mean, this is getting to Mike Joy level. That is just like the equivalent of driving from Miami, Florida to Anchorage, Alaska.
What?
Just in case you would want to do that. Who would ever leave Miami, Florida and head to Anchorage, Alaska?
I think they're probably going the other way.
If you wanted to know how far that is, that's how far it is.
I don't know. That's a long ways.
That was all off the top of my head, too, by the way.
Did you? Did you map that out, or did you use Google Maps on that?
No. Isn't that cool, though? 10,000 laps led at this racetrack. That is a pretty unbelievable feat.
It really is, and it just goes to what we were talking about pre-race. This place is so near and dear to our hearts at Hendrick Motorsports. We love coming to this venue. We love it for the short track racing. It's awesome being here Saturday night under the lights watching this race. It's an awesome venue, and we're proud to be here racing.
Cole Custer has worked his way up to second, one spot higher than where he qualified. Regan Smith.
Mike, it's been a good start for Cole Custer so far tonight, but I spoke to him earlier today. He had a number of concerns, many of which you guys have already touched on. Brakes, how the rubber would go on the racetrack, what it would look like on a long run was the biggest concern he had, though. Right now, so far, so good for that 41. He just updated the team, just a little bit loose into the corner, meaning the back was sliding some.
Really interesting as you watch right now. 41 car, he's rolling through the corner there. You can start to see they're starting to lay down some rubber. And that's what we're wanting right now. As a crew chief, you're like, okay, that rubber's starting to lay down. Now tell me what your car is doing. Because when we get to that stage break at lap 80, that's when we're going to make our first set of adjustments.
So here's the last car on the lead lap, Ty Dillon in the 42. And he is about to get lapped. He is in 31st place. So traffic after just 35 laps here. And not far ahead is last week's winner, Denny Hamlin.
Yeah, I did not see this at all. Denny struggling all weekend long. Wasn't the best yesterday and again tonight. It won't be long. Chase Elliott will be on his bumper. Business will pick up for those guys. As that leader starts to go, the urgency happens, and you've got to start laying to the bumper to some of these guys. Put some cars in between you and that leader coming.
That's what Hamlin is trying to do right now against Corey LaJoie and with Daniel Suarez right behind.
Better be ready to get to work tonight, Clint. Downshifting into each corner. Get going. You just get the car pointed. Boom. You got to grab another gear.
I love it. This is something new, and honestly, I never had a chance to do this. I would have loved to be out there and see firsthand just how this feels. You know, how many times I was racing somebody, you know, trapped underneath them, kind of stalled out and wish I could reach up and downshift that thing. Now they can.
Well, some drivers describe it like swatting flies, and someone else described it as like being an octopus in there because you are so busy.
This race for second place is heating up. It's been good for the last 15 laps. You can see William Byron putting a bumper to him, letting that kid know he's there. But I'm telling you, Cole Custer in that 41 Ford Mustang has been really, really good.
Boy, and that's Martinsville. Give him a little bump with the chrome horn or the bumper cover in the case of the next-gen car and wake him up.
That's why those two were racing. That's what you have to be careful of. That's why William Byron wanted to go. He saw that 20 car of Christopher Bell starting to catch him, sense of urgency like I was talking about. Sorry, Cole, I got to go.
And we're halfway through this stage right now. So these guys are looking for stage points. We're only going to lap 80. That's going to come up on you really quick. And I thought it was pretty smart. The 41 car, he got roughed up just a couple little taps there. He's like, all right, I better just kind of back off and let this 24 go. So I'm not the first caution of the race.
We're at 7th place, riding with Kevin Harvick. Jamie Little.
And Kevin Harvick, when you look at his stats, this hasn't been a great racetrack for this team, especially since 2016. Talked to Rodney Childers. He said, we needed a reset here. We needed a clean piece of paper. That's what we got with this race car. They unloaded in the ballpark, and Rodney told me they have been in that driver's simulator every single race. That's not something Harvick ever did. He only went the simulator for road courses, and it's paying off big. He had a great qualifying effort, his best of the year of 6th yesterday.
This whole new next-gen cars has changed a lot of folks' race preparation. Chase Elliott coming up on Ricky Stenhouse and Harrison Burton. That's Josh Bilicki up high. And now Cody Ware in the 51. And Ricky Stenhouse trying to make work for Chase Elliott. So they passed the 2-lap down cars. And now Stenhouse fighting to stay on the lead lap as Logano and Kyle Busch are side by side for 10th. And here's Cindric. Plenty of casual contact at Martinsville. Martin Truex, Ross Chastain just got together.
That climbed up the fender, didn't it, Chad?
Yeah. You wouldn't expect these guys to be riding in 22nd and 23rd position at Martinsville the way they've run this year. It's just amazing to me right now. I'm really curious to see how much the teams are able to adjust these cars when they come in for this break at lap 80 to see what they can do and who can make a leapfrog forward. And, you know, Patty right now, Brian Patty, crew chief on the number 47 car, he's like, how in the world are we 48 laps into this race and we're already a lap down? You know, that's a hole that's going to be very difficult to dig out of right now.
Well, hey, and Ricky Stenhouse did a great job trying to hold him off. The leader of Chase Elliott, that is. I mean, he was really, really tough on him, making his car as wide as possible because you cannot afford to go a lap down this early. Dig yourself out of a hole the rest of the race.
28 cars on the lead lap out of 36 after 48 laps complete. Eric Almirola started outside pole. He is currently 5th, Regan.
Mike, he slid back just a little bit from the start of this race, but that race car starting to come back to him now with this long run, getting happier with it. The biggest issue, very loose under braking. But he just told his crew chief, Drew Blickensderfer, I can't get to the brake knob to adjust this. My hands are so busy, I don't have time to get to it on the straightaways. Clint, you're already busy here. Throw in a shift, and now you can't even adjust your brakes.
And you saw every in-car camera, you know, these guys have their hands full.
Larry, shifting, brake bias, steering. You only got 2 hands.
Yeah, there's a lot going on in there. So let's go to our Ford virtual cutaway car. We keep hearing about brake adjuster. These cars basically have 2 brake systems, one in the front, one in the rear. That's the knob right there that they're basically talking about. They can crank a little more front and a little more rear. And you heard Chad talk about it. The more rubber that goes down on this racetrack, the car gets tighter. The front wheels quit gripping, and that's when they'll start cranking a little bit of that rear brake. But yeah, trying to shift and everything else, that's a lot to ask that driver to do.
Driver's hard at work, left hand on the wheel, right hand very busy. 53 laps complete. Chase Elliott has led them all. He's led more laps here at Martinsville than any other track as we take you, Fox, side by side.
When you step into a new day, determined, committed, willing to take on whatever's asked of you, that new day is yours to own, yours to shape, and yours to be proud of. Ram, J.D. Power's #1 brand in new vehicle quality.
Right now, during Ram Truck Month, get 0% financing for 72 months on the 2022 Ram 1500 Bighorn.
For March Madness, the Dave single is just $1 in the Wendy's app. Reg!
Lunchtime, baby.
Lunchtime indeed, Rich.
Get a hot and juicy Dave single for just $1 in the app. Choose Wise. Choose Wendy's.
We gotta tell people that Liberty Mutual customizes car insurance, so you only pay for what you need. And we gotta do it fast.
Woo! New personal record, Limu!
Only pay for what you need.
Liberty, 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 liberty.
Ooh. Call Logano. Hey, Joey. You can save money if you fill up at Shell if you use Advanced Auto Parts Speed Perks.
Dude, I'm way ahead of you.
You saved at the pump?
Yeah, I saved at the pump.
The pump?
The pump.
He saved at the pump!
Woo!
Now you can save at the pump when you shop at Advance Auto Parts. Learn more at advanceautoparts.com/gas rewards.
Now, it's my turn.
The lady in black doesn't age. She just gets tougher. And Throwback Weekend is when she likes to remind all the friends, families, drivers, and dreamers just how they got here. Loud cars and louder colors. Business up front and parties in the back. Over 70 years of history held together with one famous black stripe. Too tough to tame? I guess you'll have to find out.
An historic game in prime time.
Here we go.
Next Saturday, the USFL makes history as the Birmingham Stallions face the New Jersey Generals.
How about this?
Live on Fox and NBC.
Wow.
The USFL kicks off next Saturday, 7:30 Eastern on Fox and NBC.
Chase Elliott, your leader at 60 laps in Martinsville. Both Kyle Busch and Kyle Larson have dropped 6 positions since the start of this race. Elliott the leader, Byron second for Hendrick Motorsports, Alex Bowman 12th, and Kyle Larson 14th. Jamie?
Well, we were wondering if something had happened to Larson. I've been listening to him as he shuffled down to 14. He's basically been struggling with exit, and Cliff Daniels, his crew chief, told him, don't drive in the corner so deep, it'll help that exit. Now he just came on and said, I'm just too loose and I just upset the rear tire, so I'm struggling in here.
Yeah, I've seen him several times cross up getting into the corner too. I think he's just overall too loose. Loose in, loose off.
Chevy's 1-2, Christopher Bell's Toyota 4th, and the rest of the top 11 are all Mustangs.
Oh, 24, the 9 of Chase Elliott had enough. 99 of Daniel Suarez did a great job, fantastic job holding off that leader of Chase Elliott, but finally Chase put the bumper to him and moved because that 24 is getting bigger in the mirror.
16 laps to go in stage 1, just 80 laps long. Then 100 laps for stage 2.
Denny Hamlin, how about that?
I was just going to say.
Next car to go a lap down. You'll give him a handful. Yeah, won last week, as a matter of fact.
And Denny is great at Martinsville. He is great. So that just tells you how difficult it is to sometimes get your head wrapped around what's going on.
Let's put in telemetry for both these two cars. Straightaway speed about the same, 113, 114 miles an hour. Now they have Eric Jones just ahead and Michael McDowell, as Hamlin fights to stay on the lead lap. Alex Bowman, 12th place, up 3 from where he started.
And laying down some really fast laps. We talked about it. The Hendrick boys showed up this weekend. I'm telling you, 48 is going to be up there joining his teammates before long.
Teammates getting a little aggressive right there. Not only teammates, but owner and teammate.
Brad Keselowski this week lost his appeal for the problem that was found with the rear body panel on his car after a recent race, and a huge fine and loss of points for that specific to be used as supplied part having been modified.
Yeah, NASCAR, they held serve on that. They said they were going to be firm if people were caught manipulating, a single source provider component. And we don't know yet exactly what all that was. We don't know exactly what happened. Paul Harvey will come out at some point and tell us the rest of the story. But man, that's a big hit for those guys, and that could be, championship altering right there. Can they make the playoffs? If they make the playoffs, losing those points, what happens when you get to the Final Four if you get that far? It's going to be difficult.
Man, Denny Hamlin has given that 9 car fits. He's doing everything he can do. You can see the brakes glowing cherry red. He's driving that thing off into the corner, trying to get underneath the 43. Eric Jones putting a car in between him, doing a great job holding off the leader at Chase Elliott.
And what is Chase Elliott and Denny Hamlin's history here? Let's just say they're not best friends.
Yeah, definitely. You know,
see, Denny finally got under Eric Jones. It's going to go a long ways to him holding him off to the end of this stage. Do not give up the bottom.
Clint, I'm going to steal a little something.
Look at here. Eric Jones is the same way.
There's something going on. Watch that 11 car, just like what you mentioned. And I got to say, and you're going to be able to comment to this better than I, but when he is shifting, when he is upshifting down the straightaway, it's throwing a big flame out of the exhaust. So it almost looks like he's having a hard time getting it into gear.
I noticed it earlier about 20 laps ago, and I actually under break asked you what that was. It's almost like he's leaving the thing. Oh, he got in too hard, slid up. The 9 car got under him.
He is there.
He is there. You're right, Spotter. But there again, you see, as soon as he shifts that thing, it was almost like he was leaving the throttle down and it's hitting the rev limiter, maybe the chip.
Maybe.
It's the only thing I can think of, because it's the only car, by the way, that's doing that down the straightaway under an upshift. Look at this, 3 wide.
Ooh.
Justin Haley to the outside. Joey Logano trying to hold here against Ryan Blaney for 7 stage points at stake. Now, Elliott lapping the 11. That is big, putting Denny Hamlin a lap down. But before the end of the stage, Elliott's going to have to get one more because Hamlin is in the free pass position and would get back on the lead lap at stage end.
And he is on the heels of the 34 car right now, rolling into turn 3, and I think that's likely going to happen down the front straightaway.
And Denny is going to have to stay in tow, stay right on the bumper, that 9. If he gets underneath of him, you better get in there too. Go with him.
2 to go in stage 1. Hamlin gets back on the lead lap if Elliott doesn't complete this pass, and here's Chase to the inside.
Michael slipped up off of 2, got loose.
Denny's going to have to follow him. Here he comes.
Right. And I don't think he can.
Nope.
And that's motivation for Chase, right? You want to get Denny a lap down. You want to put him a lap down so you don't have to fight with him later.
Now let's see how aggressive Denny is. Will he put the bumper to that 34 to protect that spot?
He's going to have to do it to get back on the lead lap at stage end. Final lap of the stage. Chase Elliott trying for his first stage win of the year.
Denny's got it. He tried.
He jacked him up.
Didn't work. Oh. Not enough.
And Micah McDowell held off Denny Hamlin, so McDowell will get the free pass.
That was pretty big right there. A lot of guys needing some adjustments here, Chad. What are you going to give me? I need some drive. Need loose. If I'm that 5 car Kyle Larson, I'm loose in, loose off. Wedge.
Yeah, man, you're going to put some crossweight in this thing here during this pit stop. This is tough right now. Track's just starting to rubber up. It's going to get exciting here in the second stage.
The USFL is nearly here. Players are fired up and ready to go. We're just 1 week away from the start of this innovative new league. The inaugural season kicks off next Saturday with a battle between the New Jersey Generals and the Birmingham Stallions, airing on both Fox and NBC. Mark your calendar, April 16th. Start of the USFL. New game, new rules. Big fun. Stage 1 is complete. The 3 Penske cars each moved up 5 or 6 spots into the top 10. Toyota struggling, but for Christopher Bell in 4th and Kurt Busch in 10th. Hendrick Motorsports finished the stage 1-2. Pit road's open. Jamie.
And William Byron in the 24, based on how he ran there in stage 1, you can imagine, he said the balance is really good. He said, the only thing is I need to baby these rear tires at the end of a run a little bit more. So being aware of taking care of those tires. It's four tires here, stickers. Regan.
Cole Custer in the 41. We documented he fired off a little too loose in. That race car has stayed loose the entire run. Needs an adjustment for that. The 20 car Christopher Bell is struggling in traffic. Likes the car but loses all grip in traffic. And the 9 car of your leader Chase Elliott, very happy with that race car. Said he can control his own balance. That's bad news for the competition.
Here's your Ram race off pit road. Elliott and Byron hold station. Christopher Bell, Eric Almirola up 1. Logano and Cindric 2 each to the gain.
Well, let's dial up this stage winner, Chad. How about you, Chase Elliott's boy and the boys up in the booth? You got us?
Yeah, got you.
Man, I tell you what, set on the pole, check. Fast car, check. Win a stage, check. Is there anything that you're struggling with tonight?
Yeah, I feel like our Blue-Mar Chevy's been pretty good. Need to manage, the lead a little bit, trying to get through traffic a little better. So let's work on some of the things I'm doing in here and hopefully be around here at the end of this thing.
All right, man. Keep up the good work.
Yeah, appreciate it, y'all. Enjoy.
Chase Elliott, William Byron, 1-2 after one stage. Chase Elliott has won the last 3 stages here at Martinsville. He gets his first stage win of the season right here. The Bristol Easter Special next week begins at 4:30 Eastern on FS1 with an Easter celebration headlined by Grammy Award-winning worship leader Chris Tomlin and best-selling author and pastor Max Lucado. FS1 continues with race day at 5:30 before moving to Fox at 6. All leading up to this. DW is back on Fox for the Bristol Night Race Easter Sunday at 7 p.m. NASCAR Hall of Famer and former Fox analyst back in the booth.
Looking forward to a good weekend, special weekend for everybody. Can't wait to get old DW in there. Old? Man, that picture looked like a high school picture, man. I think his retirement, he's gotten a lot younger.
Do you think that he asked Stevie if he could have the weekend to go to a race?
Man, I think Stevie knows. You don't have to ask at this point a racer if he can go to the racetrack.
All right, Cody Ware too fast exiting, and Bubba Wallace's team was over the wall too soon.
Look at this 3 car right here. I'm telling you, keep an eye on Austin Dillon in the 3. Been fast. Got up through him. Past 11 cars that first stage.
Got from 23rd to 12th. Here they come to the Geico restart zone for stage 2.
Oh, teamwork right there. William Byron lets the 9 down.
We've seen that a lot over the years, teammates trying to work with one another on the initial starts because, as you know, as guys get hung out on the outside, they can lose 5, 6, 7 spots if they're not able to get down to the bottom groove. But right now, like I spoke about earlier, the rubber's starting to lay down.
You see that now. First stage, second stage, you'll see all that. Third stage, all that goes out the window.
They're not friends anymore. No.
Also on the stops, Brad Keselowski's team had equipment over the wall too soon, so he has restarted out back. The big stories of stage 1, Chase Elliott led every lap. William Byron came up for second spot to join his Hendrick Chevy teammate. And last week's winner, Denny Hamlin, got lapped just a couple of laps prior to the end of stage 1. The last time we raced here at night, Hamlin finished 3 laps down in 24th. Oh, little bump and run there. How about Austin Dillon, Jamie?
Well, he's coming off 2 straight top 10 finishes in the last 2 weeks, Mike, and I feel like we don't really talk about him early in the race because he comes on strong toward the end. And the team told me qualifying has been their weakness, but they've been good at adjusting this new race car. But tonight, he's wasting no time. Started 23rd, up there now in the 10th spot.
Top 10, good run. In past years, some of the beating and banging that we've seen would have resulted in a tire rub, a cut tire, a flailed fender, and a couple of caution flags. Not tonight.
Well, we just saw right there. The 3 car and the 48 got together a little bit, saw a little bit of tire smoke. No real damage to speak about from that contact. And one thing that also you need to take into consideration is the rear tire, the tie rods that NASCAR has given the teams for this weekend is a little bit larger. So that toe rod on the right rear, if you start to have some contact, it's not going to bend as easily. So these guys are even more encouraged, even more and more now to go ahead and go out there and beat and bang. We've seen a lot of contact with 0 issues so far.
A lot of conversation around that they were going to make a little bit stronger because we've seen that was the weak link. The 9 car broke a couple out in California, we've seen that several times. But making a couple pieces stronger, learning as we go here. But the point is, these cars are tough. You can beat and bang. They take a licking, keep going. No tire rubs. I love that composite body on these race cars.
And it was all learned. If you look at it, I mean, the test bed was the Xfinity Series, right? That's where they started with the flange fit bodies as opposed to the steel bodies that we have been running traditionally in the Cup Series. And those guys beat and bang. They get up on the wall. They hit the wall. They keep on trucking. And as what we've known in the past is a Cup car would get into the wall in a higher speed racetrack, and they would just lose. They wouldn't have any speed.
Now we talked about Denny Hamlin and his woes in stage 1. Regan?
Mike, those woes really started yesterday. Crew Chief Chris Gabehart said we were a little overwhelmed with this car at Martinsville. Very tight yesterday. That race car is still very tight right now for Denny. Been having trouble getting the front tires to turn. Another component to think about also, the steering in this car a little bit slower than what Denny's accustomed to at Martinsville. Very difficult for a driver to adapt as quick as they have to with such a short practice.
Well, the race for the free pass position is right there on your screen. 43 Eric Jones and 11 Denny Hamlin, the first 2 cars 1 lap down. 6th place Eric Almirola, who started this race from the outside pole.
Your right rear was worn out pretty good. A couple other guys had cords on theirs. You did not, but it was definitely used up. Copy.
Cords. That's good. That's good. From a racing standpoint, that's what you want, because you need to make a decision as a crew chief and as a team. How are we going to approach the race? Do we want to go for short run speed and abuse those tires, or do you want to go for a long run? If you are, then you got to be the team. Okay, how do we manage our setup to try to make sure that we don't wear out that right rear tire? Because that's what's driving you down the straightaway.
Well, and that intel also, don't think that driver can't make some adjustments inside that thing. If you're riding, you're in a happy spot, start backing off of that pedal a little bit up off the corners. Don't lean on it quite as hard getting in. Adjusting the brakes that we were talking about early. Downshifts, upshifts. There's a lot of things there that you can do inside that car to help that crew chief with tire wear.
Kurt Busch in 11th behind Austin Dillon. All 3 Penske cars in the top 8. And you see just ahead of Dillon, Kevin Harvick. 4 laps ago, he was doing a tattoo on the bumper of Austin Cindric. But now, Cindric's been able to build a gap of about 2-3 car lengths to Harvick. Downshift mid-corner, accelerate, straightaway, upshift again.
It's so great. It's so fun to watch these guys. Whoa, right there. That downshift just knocked the back end of the car loose, and Kurt had to hustle.
And he's going to get past
I think that
to
was
the inside.
I don't
Kyle
think that was a
Larson.
downshift. I think it was the 5's bumper that did that. And look how much that upset him inside that car. That's another thing about this car. It has a lot of tire under it. And what I mean by that is it feels stable. When I drove this thing at Bowman Gray, first thing I noticed is it just felt really stuck to the racetrack. 1.5 wider tire in these short tracks. You have to, and I remember vividly telling myself, I'm like, man, these guys are going to have to hit somebody pretty hard to move them out of the way. And you can see firsthand right there inside that 45 car when the 5 hit him, he knocked him pretty good.
But that's how you pass here. You run the inside in the corner here, and if you want to pass somebody, you're almost going to have to move them.
Wait a minute. That is one way to pass here.
Okay. It's not the preferred way, but it sure is effective.
I think after what I saw last night, I don't even know if there's a preferred way, a gentleman's agreement anymore. This battle right here reminds me of the old days, Chad, of that 48 and 24.
Man, this is awesome. This is just great. So
all right, well, let's go back and look at Kyle Larson. Did he get into the 45 of Kurt Busch, or was he just there?
I don't think that was a lap.
I think it was. I think he was just offline, grabbed a gear, and lost it right there, buddy.
No, it was getting into the corner.
Come on, Clint. Come on.
He was already underneath of him. I don't buy it. I think we need to.
That was
sticking to it.
Clint,
parallel
how many
universe
times did he
for
pass him?
He was already to his door. Bad camera angle. I don't know. Something happened there.
Here, have a hot dog.
Yeah, there you go.
Pretty spread out right now. just like we had in the first stage. But I don't mind that. The name of the game always at this place is a long run, always has been, managing this tire wear, and more importantly, when you start to get into lap traffic, who can get through, navigate around, and get through that lap traffic the best. That's who's going to win between this battle right here, because this battle ain't going away all night.
Those two right there, and you can look at a significantly different approach to the corner from one another. One right on the bottom, the other one running up just a little bit. This is going to be a good race.
What? That's the hot dog stand that services all of the pits here at Martinsville. Wow, a sellout.
No wonder there's no line.
Oh, good news for everybody on pit road. The infield concession stand has been resupplied. Plenty of hot dogs. You get them with chili, with slaw, and onions, and they're $2. Best deal in racing right there. And plenty on hand for all the crews.
$2 hot dog today's day and age. No wonder they're out.
So we're boring you with this because Chase Elliott has led every one of 122 laps so far. Cole Custer in third. This is the most laps Custer has ever run in the top 5 in a Cup race. Great run for him behind the Chevys of Elliott and Byron. There's Cole.
He's had a couple of runs that were just kind of that surprising run. You know, looking back at Coda, ran really well out there, had a lot of speed, and then comes to Martinsville. That tells me, you know, the kid's learning. He's leaning on his teammates. You know, Kevin Harvick gets around here good. You heard me say that Eric Almirola gets around here good. Learning from those guys. That's what it's all about.
Now Christopher Bell's in a good place in 4th, and here is the first of the Penske Fords. Joey Logano in 5th. Jamie.
And Joey Logano up 9 positions. They need a good run tonight. They had a tough couple of weeks, finishing 17th and 31st. Joey right now just saying the car's getting a little bit free off. They told him, make it live. Just be patient. Let's be good on this long run.
He's lapping past J.J. Yaley. He has about a second on Eric Almirola in 6th. Then Ryan Blaney and Austin Cindric, Logano's teammates.
And he's ripping right around the bottom. Really taking care of his car, and he's trying to make sure that thing's there towards the end of the stage. We still have 46 laps to go this time by in this stage. So you've got a long ways to go. We've already heard about the tires going down to the cords. At 22, he's really being patient, which is a little bit uncharacteristic from the Penske guys, who traditionally here are very much more a short run car. But he's running up on that 20 car.
Well, if last night was any indication, all of these long runs and long run speed, time we get to about lap 390, that's all going out the window. We'll see.
How many lead changes in the last 7 or 8 laps did we see in that stat earlier today? Right? 7?
Martin Truex, 17th right now, restarted 15th. Where his teammate Kyle Busch rides. Christopher Bell in 4th for Joe Gibbs Racing, and Denny Hamlin still a lap down and not in the free pass position in 25th.
And isn't really challenging from the 11 onto the 43. Just kind of holding serve.
Kyle Busch up a spot, back a spot, right there between 15th and 18th position for much of this race.
Huge separation right now if you look at the JGR guys. You've got Bell running in 4th, been fast all weekend long, pretty consistent. The other guys just not so much. The 18 showed some speed in practice, thought that he was going to be a factor. Not saying that he won't be as we get a little bit further into the race. But man, right now as he's just cruising around in 16th and 17th with the 18 and 19 car, not really showing a lot of speed right there.
I think that shows you, you said had a lot of speed in practice. That practice was 20, minutes long, and what we heard 50 laps is about as most that these guys got out of that practice. Different conversation when you're out here running 80.
And yet here's Christopher Bell in 4th at a track that has not been one of his best.
He is really using a lot of front brake. Denny Hamlin here as we're looking at those brakes glow. You can see the leaders just barely glowing, getting into the corner, and pretty much goes away. tells me that car's rolling through the middle. He's able to get off that brake pedal, let it roll. See how the Cherry almost goes out of there down the straightaway, whereas the Denny Hamlin will be able to red all the way around.
And again, now the 9's been leading a lot, right? So you know, Clint, when you're up front, you can really manage your brakes a little bit easier. You got clean air on your nose. You can run the line that you want to run. You've managed to be able to save your tires until you get to those lappers. Once you get to the lappers, you got a little bit more tire left on your car.
And then you can afford to use them brakes a little bit harder.
Yeah.
You know, while everybody else has been mired in traffic and just hammering on them brakes, going for every inch, trying to make a pass every single lap. Way easier to run up front.
The last time someone led this many laps to begin a cup race was at Richmond in spring of 2017. Matt Kenseth started that race leading the first 163 laps. Chase Elliott's within 25 of that right now. So that leads us to one of Clint's stage 2 questions. Where will our pole sitter, Chase Elliott, be at the end of stage 2?
Man, I sure hope you folks thought that he was going to dominate this weekend, because you're going to get paid a lot of money if you did.
Now Bubba Wallace trying to come back from a pit penalty for being over the wall too soon. About to go a lap down to Chase Elliott.
And again, this 42 laps to go in this stage. We don't have to pit in this stage, so you won't see anybody come down pit road to get fuel or tires or anything unless we get a caution. Now, if we get a caution right now, everybody's going to come down to pit road and get some tires.
Alan Gustafson. Oh, BJ McLeod slow up in turn number 2. The co-owner of that team, Matt Tifft, former driver, has health issues, out of the seat, but he is here this weekend to help support the team. Signed the C-pillar of that car before they rolled off. And McLeod makes it to pit road.
There's something broke, Lee. That's what I'm telling you. Wheels in a completely different spot.
Tough break for the Florida driver.
Something broke.
Trying to raise money for the Epilepsy Foundation.
Oh.
See William Byron trying to diamond the corner. Trying different things as he's getting into these lap cars. That's going to be your opportunity to pounce on the leader of Chase Elliott. Chase's car is just turning.
Whoa.
So good.
A.J. Allmendinger just got in the back of Denny Hamlin and moved him out of the groove because A.J. is trying to get up there into that free pass position.
Hey, it's time to go, though, too. The leader is coming, isn't too far behind them.
I'm sorry.
That was Todd Gilliland.
My mistake, Todd Gilliland. Yep.
Oof. Look at the rotors glowing on that 11. He is driving that car so hard.
I'm sorry, same color car, and he drove it in there like AJ. My bad.
You know, go back to that 16. You mentioned him earlier. Remember, they had a drive-through at the beginning of the race. They're only one lap down. And I know there's a lot of cars one lap down, but if things work out, AJ's going to be right back in the mix of this thing. And guess what? This is one of his best races.
And here comes Logano. 4th place against Christopher Bell. Makes the pass.
Joey gets around here well. Really does. Again, right around the bottom, and you see the long run speed shows up from that. He's able to take care of his tires. Car is rotating really well. They've done a really good job getting that car set up nice and secure, and gets pointed and just rips the curb right there. That's nice.
You can see the difference in the line. Chase Elliott can just wrap that curb a little bit tighter than William can. I think his car's rolling in the middle, turning just a hair better than the 24 of William Byron. Doesn't mean for a second. All it would take is one little slip up trying to get around the 23 of Bubba Wallace. And that 24 William Byron could make a pass, make a move on him. He keeps working. Watch Hills try to diamond this corner, working and trying to perfect, getting that thing squared off and getting a straight drive off. Something slips up in front of him, be there, be close enough. Got to be in position to take advantage of that.
And these curbs are still 4 inches high, and with the low ground clearance on this new next-gen car, you could high center a car on that curbing should a car spin down there. So the curbs probably could come into play more here than with the previous car. Let's hope not.
You can see the rubber on the inside of the curb where these guys are dragging their left front tire right on that curb. And that actually helps the car turn if you can get that just right around that. Clint, you've done that before.
Oh, yeah. Just like you're locking onto a train track.
William Byron, the only driver in the top 7 with the win this year, as we take you Fox side by side.
Whoa! Holy cow! Oh my God, guys!
It's an absolute hack.
Catch all that?
I'm ready to rip somebody's freaking head off.
Or that? Well, get ready for this, and a whole lot of this. I am Full Throttle. I am NASCAR. The all-new Tuck. Toyota. Let's go places.
eBay Motors, they have all the right parts at the right prices. Whether I'm on 2 wheels, 4 wheels, or no wheels. Let's ride!
Refresh. Italiano.
Subway now has Italian-style capicola on the new Supreme meats and matzo meat, just like my Nonna makes when she cooks.
I don't cook.
Wait, what?
It's a good thing he's so handsome.
Subway keeps refreshing and The racing, the big one, the camping. It's all just bigger at Talladega. Get your tickets now at TalladegaSuperspeedway.com.
156 laps complete. Chase Elliott, William Byron, and Joey Logano is the new third-place car. You saw him take the spot from Cole Custer. Ryan Blaney in 5th, 2 Chevys and 3 Fords. Larry Mack.
Yeah, Mike, this will be our Subway right combination. It's Hendrick Motorsports and Martinsville Speedway. They now have 26 wins at Martinsville. That's the most all-time by one organization at a single track. 7 different drivers, including Jimmy Johnson with Chad Canals that has 9. Jeff Gordon has 9. The very first win of 283 total wins for Hendrick came at Martinsville in the spring of '84 with the 5 car and Jeff Bodine. And as Mike pointed out, when Chase led lap 18, 10,000 laps at a single track. And actually, Clint texted me while he was figuring out the mileage between Miami and Anchorage. He said, "Hey, Larry Mack, do you know Hendrick Motorsports has 37 wins in the state of Virginia?" And I would say all those things line up as a Subway right combination to maybe get their 4th win of 2022.
Thanks, Larry. 3 of the 4 Hendrick drivers have been to victory lane so far this season. Ryan Blaney has taken over 4th from Cole Custer.
I'm liking what I see out of the Penske boys, Logano and Blaney. I think they can, honestly, looking at the lap times that they're running, I feel like when you get a re-racked or even in lap traffic, they have something for Elliott and Byron.
There's the Penske running order, 3rd, 4th, and 8th. The Advanced Auto Parts cam on board Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, this is going to come down to what happens on pit road. If this thing goes green to the end of the stage, who's going to get on and off of pit road better than the other? Which really interesting is you've got the 12 car all the way back in pit stall number 41, the very first pit box on the pit road, which is a little difficult to get into. And then you got the 9, the very first car on the exit of pit road in pit stall number 1. Huge advantage on that one.
Jamie?
Ryan Blaney picking up where he left off last week at Richmond, had a really strong car there as well, saying the center is rolling pretty good in this 12. He said, we're competitive, just wanted that track position, and that was before the last stop. Now he's got it and moving forward, happy with the 12.
Thanks, Jamie. The prior races here at Martinsville were 500 laps. Tonight we're running 400. But in the last 8 races here, one driver has hit the right combination and led nearly half the laps of the race, as Chase Elliott has done tonight. All the last 8 races, somebody has hit it spot on. Doesn't necessarily mean that driver went to victory lane.
A lot of reasons go along with that, right, Mike? Because, think about it. Limited practice, maybe not even qualifying during the pandemic. You unload, you've got what you got, run what you brung type of situation. So you could see that the last 4 or 5 races, that would be definitely the case. Same here. We did have practice, we did have qualifying, but very short and with a brand new race car. So it's very easy for somebody to hit that just right. Or, I should say, better than others. Maybe not just right.
True. Kevin Harvick in 9th place. There's your subway cam. With Austin Dillon behind. Then it's Kyle Larson, Kurt Busch, and Alex Bowman in 13th.
But I have no clue what it is. It's just kind of shaking. What's shaky? Feels like something with the rear, like rear tire or something.
Oh, man, that is nerve-wracking in today's day and age. Obviously, we've all seen loose wheels. We've seen things that that result in suspensions for teams and jack bend and tire changers. But, there's a bunch of things that it could be. It could be a tire, it could be a transaxle. Who knows right now? Maybe, Larry, have you got some intel?
Well, the only thing I'm seeing, Chad, is remember, we ran 80 straight laps in that first stage, and remember the report about some of the right rears being worn out. So we've run that far. We only have 11 laps to go in this stage, but that would make me really nervous to hear that right now.
And this stage 20 laps longer than the first, as Austin Dillon is after Kevin Harvick. And at 6th place, Eric Almirola working his way back toward the front on Christopher Bell. Austin Dillon completed the pass on Harvick. Almirola's got a fight on his hands here.
I just don't see the track laying down the rubber that I expected it to, Chad. I heard you say that several times, and for whatever reason, it almost looks brand new, like it's got 10 laps on it.
It tried. You could see it. It was starting to lay rubber on the exit of turn 2 over there, where we got a really good shot of that from up here in the Fox booth. But unfortunately, it's just stopped. It gets to that point where it's got a little bit of shadowing, and it doesn't get any worse.
It's only about 40 degrees outside.
Yeah.
And that could well be a factor.
Yeah, but 173 laps down, a lot of racing, with the trucks and Xfinity. I would have thought that it would have had more rubber than it does.
Almirola completed his pass and got up to 6th place. And let's show you the track from the start of the race and what it looks like right now. Well, on the left was what it looked like coming to the green flag, and
yeah, it's not a lot of rubber. Another one that's kind of cruising on up there is the 5 car, all the way back up into 11th after having a pretty ugly first stage. Came in and got some changes, and they're starting to get back up there. Up 3 spots. That's the start. They'll be back in this thing as well.
Got him them adjustments. A lot of teams needed that pit stop, but I'm telling you, the 3 car, Austin Dillon right here, you can see putting the bumper to him. Next one in line on a long run. Not much cars deep into a run are faster than Austin Dillon.
Well, Clint, you well know this has always been a good track for Richard Childress Racing.
Oh, absolutely. But I like what I see there. Deep into these runs, if you didn't take care of those tires, and it kind of takes me right back to what Larry was telling us. It's like it fell off a cliff. All of a sudden, it was spinning a little bit, and then boom, it just fell off. You have no tire underneath of you, cannot get off the corner. Seems like it's spinning clear past the flag stand. And if you took care of those tires, like I think Austin Dillon is doing, you could really capitalize on that maybe in the last 20 laps of a run.
3 to go in the stage, and trying to stay on the lead lap now is Bubba Wallace. He pretty well overcame that penalty. He restarted in the back. Chase Elliott was able to catch Bubba, but has not been able to pass him.
This whole run, he's been on his heels. They've been following. Honestly, the 9 has been following the 23 through all of this lap traffic.
And here's Austin. I'm telling you, just within the last 10 laps, past 3 or 4 cars, long run speed is definitely underneath him, in his favor. Whoa, Bubba slid in the corner, got loose. Cannot give this spot up.
Last lap, stage 2.
I think he's going to hold him off.
Chase gets a boot from Daniel Suarez, and
hey, how
here
about
he comes.
that? Daniel getting a lap back.
And Suarez will hold on to the free pass position as Chase Elliott wins
That was pretty
stage
cool,
2.
Chad.
And Bubba Wallace hangs on to the lead lap.
Yeah, Suarez was 2 laps down right there. That would have been huge for him to get back on 1 lap down. That's why they were probably in his ear saying, man, if there's anything you can do, try to get that leader passed.
So the 99 trying to get back 1 of his 2 laps right here.
Oh, jeez.
Yeah.
Ain't no shame in his game. I'm going for it. About had it. Almost worked.
Yeah.
Chase Elliott gets his 6th Martinsville stage win. 5th time he's swept both stages in a race. Pit stops coming, and they will be all important here at Martinsville in a race in which we have not seen a caution flag for cause other than the 2 stage breaks. 184 laps complete. We have an official race. And Chase Elliott has, well, boys, stunk up the show.
Kind of predicted it a little bit based off of what we saw in practice and starting position. This could be the equalizer right here. What happens on pit road? This is a really touchy one right here. Watch the 12. He peels in really quickly on pit road right there. First one in. Jamie, what do you see down there?
Nice job hitting his marks for Ryan Blaney. He said he just wants more stability on entry. Car was really good on the long run there. His teammate, Joey Logano, on the right, could be free or off is all he has said. A 4-tire stop there. And William Byron in the 24, he said his only complaint is just needs those rear tires to hang on a little bit longer. They told him to take care of them early. Regan.
Chase Elliott, the 9 car, very good with that car, as we've mentioned earlier. Opening 5 laps, the only issue for him, just a little bit too tight. Said he had to guard the rears a little bit as that run went on. That's why the 24 William Byron gained out. All good otherwise.
Somebody has lost a wheel. Here's the Ram race off pit road. And William Byron beats Chase Elliott to the timing line. Blaney beats Logano by a spot. Austin Dillon, Eric Almirola, and Austin Cindric each pick up 1. Cole Custer punts that tire out.
I think it may have come from the 20, Christopher Bell.
All right, we'll check on that. Meanwhile, who's on the radio?
Man, I'm going with my man Austin Dillon, flexing some muscle tonight.
I saw him retire in my peripherals. What happened there?
They had to hang. He wants to know why that tire was. Hey, Austin Dillon, it's Boyer and the boys up in the booth. You got us?
Yeah, man. How's it going up there?
Man, not as good as it's going in that race car. Tell me about it. You started 23rd all the way up to 6th. Got things going on.
Yeah, man. This Get Bioethanol Chevy's really fast on the long run. It takes off a little snug, but we got forward drive when everybody else starts to lack it. So I want to keep on charging, see what we can do with this thing.
Right, buddy. Keep marching.
Austin Dillon up into the top 10, and he picked up another spot on pit road. 5th place for the elder of the Dillon brothers. Tony Stewart having a look at the tires that came off of Eric Almirola's car on that pit stop. Let's have a look at your eBay Motors pit performance for the season. through the first 7 races, you see the 10, the 41, and the 4 among the list of top cars that have gained the most positions on 4-tire stops under caution. Now, we saw Cole Custer hit a tire coming out of his pit. Watch upper right of your screen. That one rolled the wrong way, got away. The tire he hit was his. Custer ran all 185 laps in the top 5. Prior to this, he will serve his first penalty of 2022. And his tires, by the way, looked fine. No cording.
Man,
no
very costly.
Not a ton of effort for that guy trying to capture that tire when the tire carrier dropped it off the guy behind the wall.
For as important of a big penalty it is, he could have helped him. Regan?
Hey, Mike, very interesting. So when these tires come off the race cars, the crew guys use a dial caliper. They measure this little dot right here and then write the numbers down on the tire. Look at these numbers on the inside edge of the right rear tire: 53, 17, 24. That is a wore-out tire right there. These tires are actually wearing out and using the rubber up. It's just not going on the racetrack. Numbers as big as 68, 74 on the left rear. So these tires very interesting tonight.
Very much so. William Byron is elected the outside for the restart against his Hendrick Chevy teammate, Chase Elliott. And we'll see if an arrangement is in play for him to cross over in front as they hit the Geico restart zone. Byron and Elliott. Joey Logano now charging for second.
Holding tough on that outside, but I feel like he probably needs to get down. I think he's going to agree with me. Oh, he didn't get down. Ryan Blaney got underneath him, but Ryan got on the curb. Had to lift. Gave him the spot.
We are getting some new players into this game here in the late stages, the start of stage 3. I mean, this is exciting. 2 Hendrick, 2 Penske. Got an RCR car up there and 1 Gibbs guy.
That 9 car slipping and sliding around behind Willie B. So it tells me you get that 24 car out front, that thing's going to handle. We saw him fighting a little bit of a tight condition behind in that wake of Chase Elliott earlier. Now the roles reversed. Let's see if the 9 has anything for him.
Todd Gilliland got the free pass at the end of stage 2. He is back on the lead lap. 22 lead lap cars with Eric Jones in the free pass position. Watch Ross Chastain in the 1. Chase Briscoe.
Oh boy. We talked about that wheel lock up.
Yeah, he locked it up and got into Alex Bowman so hard that it forced Alex Bowman to lock his left front up.
Now remember, at the end of stage 2, Daniel Suarez was trying to get one of his 2 laps back. He did not beat Chase Elliott to the flag, but neither did he pit. So he did get one of those laps back by taking the wave around between stages, but he's on worn tires.
He is going to need a caution very quick. Might have one right here.
16th place, Chris Buescher goes after Ross Chastain.
I think you're going to start seeing these guys flexing the muscle a little bit more, not being so patient, so courteous out there in this final stage.
Tyler Reddick ready to pounce on the inside and keep that other Chevy from getting back to the inside. Can't quite do it. So uses a little bit of bumper.
Chastain, I've been here before, cannot find a hole in this ride. Needs to get down. He can get down and he's in the way of the next car. Such a frustrating situation at a track this tight. All right, here he comes back down. See if he can find a spot, find a rhythm, regroup.
Times of desperation are picking up right now, right? You're going to be battling for track position. You're going to be doing everything you can to try to get yourself set up. We've got one more time that we're going to have to pit in this final stage for fuel just to make it to the end. Now, everybody's going to want to do that under caution if you can. I don't think you're really going to see too many folks want to split this stage. So what everybody's trying to do is battle for that track position right now. So when they come down pit road for that final time, they've got something they can work with for the final bit of the race.
This race has had one lead change, and was William Byron beating Chase Elliott out of the pits. So here's Elliott now in an unaccustomed second place.
Logano was boinking people out of the way, and Blaney just followed him through. He was pretty aggressive at 22, pushing people out of the way.
Yeah, I mean, that's probably what you're going to have to do. I just hate to do that so early, you know? Because you're going to see those guys again.
100%.
Spotter Eddie DeHaan talking about how stage 2 ended up.
Pretty smart, Clint, thinking about that, right? Like, you don't want to rough somebody up early in the race, knowing that you're going to have to battle with them later in the race and have them already mad at you.
You're going to have to anyway. You get down to the end of this thing, it doesn't matter if he's upset with you or not. You're going to have to move him out of the way.
Yep. Check your feelings at the crossover gate. Jamie?
William Byron leading for the first time tonight. His pit crew did a great job, got him off in front of his teammate Chase Elliott. Big celebration all around, but William Byron, you can't say enough about what he's been doing during the week to get better at places like this. Ran the Truck Series race on Thursday just to get some extra laps. Well, he won, and we know what that does for a driver. It gives him a lot of confidence, and that's what he's driving with right now.
Absolutely. Byron's been out in front for 20 laps. Chase Elliott led 185. Reach for that volume knob. We'll give you Saturday Night NASCAR on Fox. Crank it up.
Gets in, but he can't get off. There you go, he can't touch you.
Six laps to go. Austin Dillon just ran his fastest lap of the race a short bit ago. He's in 5th place. William Byron is your leader. He's been out in front for the last 30. When we come back, we're going to talk fuel strategy with Chad and Larry. (1947) Clay Earl's brand new racetrack, a dirt track. A packed house of fans showed up in their Sunday best. They got covered with dirt. So did winner Rhett Byron. DW among those who made that trip to Martinsville's Victory Lane and won themselves a grandfather clock. 75 years of great racing history, one of NASCAR's original racetracks. And the only one on this Cup schedule besides Indianapolis that predates the formation of NASCAR.
Oh, that's a nugget. Did you know that, Boyer?
No, but I know this is your second week. But it's week. It's lap after lap after lap of Mike Joy's vast historical knowledge. We were talking about trains for crying out loud earlier today, and he knew all about trains on the back straightaway in 1923.
One thing
that first train first came by here.
Oh,
pretty sure he was probably there.
Stop it. You're a big steam engine fan.
I am.
All right.
As you sit here, folks, just so you know back at home, when I'm in here at the broadcast booth and I'm in the meetings with these guys at Fox Sports, I get so much knowledge from Mike and Larry Mack and all this goodness. I mean, there's nuggets, there's information.
Whoa. There's another guy up here.
And then I sit back there and Boyer interjects, and I'm like, where in the world is he taking this train? I don't even know.
Thank goodness there's tracks.
Right.
Promise it'll be eventful.
That's right.
Probably off the track, though.
Christopher Bell has been the leading Toyota in this race all night long. Currently in 6th place. Restarted 5th. Eric Almirola, outside pole sitter, restarted 8th. He is up 1 spot to 7th. Bell is your Toyota top performer with 172 laps to go in 6th. Kurt and Kyle Busch 8th and 9th. Martin Truex 13th. Bubba Wallace 20th, and Denny Hamlin still a lap back in 26th. Two Chevys leading 2 Fords. Byron and Elliott ahead of Logano and Blaney. Hendrick Motorsports ahead of Team Penske. Then Richard Childress Racing in 5th with Austin Dillon.
Really interesting. So we've had 10 wins as a company at Hendrick Motorsports since the last time Chase won here, and it's been amazing, you know. And it's really interesting right now. If you watch, it looks like for you Chase Elliott fans that he is kind of reeling in Byron just a little bit, maybe 1/10 of a second a lap or so.
All right, Larry Mack, 170 laps to go. How do you want to break up this final stage?
Well, Mike, remember the fuel window is about 150 to 160 laps. All the leaders pitted on lap 185. You'll be able to go to about lap 335 or 340. But I think, Chad, the question, do we run it all the way out, or do we maybe split it in half and pit somewhere around lap 300? My preference is run it all the way out. If I want to back it up a little bit, maybe 325, 75 laps to go.
Man, Larry, I tell you, buddy, I get on pins and needles at this place when you start to talk about pitting under green. And I can remember sitting on the pit box down here a few years ago with one of my engineers, and we're contemplating this exact thing. And he's like, man, we need to pit. These guys are starting to pit, and we're losing track time. And I'm like, man, I really feel like that we're going to have something happen. Somebody's going to blow a tire. Somebody's going to spin out. And it definitely happened. A few laps later, we had a car blow a right front tire, got into the wall, caution came out, and we were one of only 4 or 5 cars on the lead lap and set us up in a position to win the race. So me personally, I'm going to drag this thing out. I'm going to go all the way into my fuel window and try to stay out there as long as I can.
What? That's so conservative. We've made it 235 laps. Have we even had a caution?
So I've got to ask you, have you, while waiting for someone else's misfortune, did it ever befall you?
We have. We've had a race here in the past where we were actually in a really good spot to win the race, and caution came out late. We opted to stay out on old tires, and we were leading. Everybody behind us came down pit road and got fresh tires, and that didn't work out too well for us. So strategy always comes into play here at Martinsville, much like it does at every racetrack. You know, I know, Boyer, you like to say you don't want to have, I don't like a strategy race, I want a race. Just so you know, there's strategy in every single race. As soon as we drop the green flag, strategy starts to come into play.
And you're a crew chief, and I'm a driver.
All right, here's where the Coca-Cola family of drivers are running right now. Joey Logano 3rd, Austin Dillon top 5. Tough night for Denny Hamlin, still 1 lap down, and Daniel Suarez, remember, did not stop at the stage break. He's been on the same tires since lap 85.
You asked me, I'm asking you. This has to be fixed next week. What do you do? Boss comes to you and says, I don't care. Something has to change next week.
You know, something that's interesting that I feel like our racing has taken a bit of a dive, especially on short tracks, and you're going to laugh at this a little bit, is when we took and we gave the guys, we took away the ride height rules.
It goes, I swear to God, I've said this a million times. It goes, I'm telling you, you can go back and look at it, flip the switch at that moment.
I agree.
Why did they never look at that again? I mean, I'm telling you, it shows up like black and white. I'm so glad you said that. I have preached that for 10 years. I'm telling you, it is like that lap right there is when it happened, and nobody ever says it.
Boys, the fight was after the race last night, not in the booth tonight.
I'm telling you, I'm so glad you said that. You're the only person that's ever agreed with me or ever said that.
Okay,
God, I was a complete
here we go. 159 laps to go, and William Byron out front. $152 laps to go in the Blue-Emu Maximum Pain Relief 400 at Martinsville. And Daniel Suarez and Chase Elliott got together last lap. Not the first time tonight.
Oh.
Now Daniel Suarez had just pitted for tires. Remember, he had been on the same set since lap 85.
So as you come out of the pits, low tire pressure, tires are cold. The 9's been out there running. He's been up to speed. Everything's running pretty well for him right there. It takes a few laps. And they threw a Hail Mary, right? You know, they're like, look, we're 2 laps down. We're coming into the stage. Everybody's going to have to pit one more time. Let's give it a go. Let's see if we can make something happen to get 1 lap down.
The 9 car, I honestly think that we definitely all agree he was the fastest car. We know that from qualifying and practice and things like that. It's going to be interesting. The 24 couldn't do anything with Chase, but I feel like Chase's car rotates, turns that middle better than William Byron in the 24. Is that worth something here? Can he make a pass, capitalize on them catching some of these lap cars?
Well, only 2 drivers in the top 10 have been to victory lane this season. William Byron and 10th place Austin Cindric. So a lot riding on these last 147 laps here.
And now just for a note, okay, caution comes out right now. You can come down, you can pit, and you make it to the end of the race, right? We're past that window, so we're in the stage of the race where everything's going to be fine if the caution comes out and we come down pit road and get fuel and tires.
I'm going to tell you, and I don't mean to be Debbie Downer here, I don't think the caution's coming out unless somebody makes it come out, right? So I need you to start really buckling down and make sure that I win this race. And that's 2 different conversations here. We're talking the 24 and the 9. If you're Chase Elliott, how is your strategy going to put me in front of that 24? Because it may have to be your strategy that I rely on.
Yeah, this is a tough one. And again, you can call me conservative, you can call me whatever you want, but at this racetrack, I just think waiting to the end makes sense. I know it's going to be faster if you go ahead and you pit a little bit earlier. But man, I just think the risk versus reward, and that's something you always have to weigh as a crew chief. You do it as a driver, right? Yeah. You're like, okay, do I poke my nose in there at this time or do I wait? Same as a crew chief. You're like, man, you just got to weigh that out. And history is going to tell me, keep it going.
Shortening this race by 100 laps, does that make it tougher to make that decision?
Of course. I mean, everything is amplified. Everything gets ramped up a little bit quicker. You know, you come up on lap cars, they have more anxiety. They're like, man, I don't have more of an opportunity to get the lap back. It's the same way all the way around.
Look at the difference that one costly mistake on pit road is made to the 41 car Cole Custer. We're talking top 5 material all weekend long. One mistake by that right rear tire getting away from them on pit road, and now he's on the brink of going a lap down.
In 21st place.
That's a tough pill to swallow.
Yeah, Yeah, it might start to get a little rough here if William can't get his nose down underneath him right there. It might get ugly. And now you got the 99 car coming back into play. He's got fresh tires, right? So he's running for his life, hoping that everybody else is going to come down pit road under green.
It's that sense of urgency. I'm okay riding behind him now. As soon as the 9 car breaks free and starts gaining on me, which my spotter's going to tell me, it's time to go. I need to put the front bumper to him, move him out of the way, and get gone.
But Daniel Suarez is not really in play here. He is 6 laps down. He'll pick up at least one of those laps when drivers make their green flag stop. And he has, I don't know, maybe he's got nothing to lose. But 6 laps down, where are you going to go? Forward on fresh tires, that's for sure.
The only hope he's got right now, he's getting one of his laps back right now. He's whipping it really hard, is that the field does exactly what Clint is saying, goes all the way and everybody has to pit under green, and that gets him back in a similar cycle as to everybody else. But unfortunately, I don't see it changing a whole lot. I think he's still going to end up a couple laps down.
I don't think you can look too far. Again, as we're starting to catch these lap traffic, we're starting to see Joey Logano and Blaney coming back into this conversation.
Yeah, Logano 1.3 seconds back. The 2 Penske Fords pretty much running nose to tail, just as the Hendrick Chevys are up front. 1, 2, 3, and 4. And now Byron is going to move Cole Custer.
That's that time. I told you, as soon as that 9 car breaks loose, that's going to determine when I'm going to have to lay the bumper to Cole Custer. Now I'm going to try to do it to where the 9, see, got held up. Cole Custer cleared him. And look at the difference with this 22 car. Capitalized, caught them all within a matter of just 2 laps.
That was just what Joey Logano wanted to see.
And his teammates right in tow. Ryan Blaney, you're riding with him right now.
So for more on William Byron, here's Jamie.
Well, his 2 biggest fans, his parents, mom and dad, sitting atop the pit box watching their son lead this race. Mike, if you remember back to 1 year ago at this very race, Dana Byron right there fell ill suddenly. Well, after testing, they found out that she had a brain tumor. 1 year later, she has a clean bill of health, and she's able to be back at the track enjoying this moment as William continues to lead.
Yeah, wonderful to see her back at the track with her husband, Bill, William's dad, and leading this race after going to victory lane in the Truck Series earlier this weekend. Kurt Busch is now, for the first time tonight, the leading Toyota in this race, passing Christopher Bell.
Which I'm glad to see. It tells me, man, I thought I saw this yesterday. Those 2311 cars seem to be fast. I thought really they were going to be a factor. So Kurt Busch marching up through the field, the closing laps of this race inside the top 10, backs up what I saw.
And you're right. We saw that with Bubba Wallace. He was right in front of the 9 car that whole stage 2. Just led him all the way through all of those laps, all 100 of them.
Bubba is now 20th, the last car on the lead lap, with 130 to go in Martinsville, Virginia. .124 laps to go in Martinsville, Virginia. William Byron has been out front for the last 92 of those. So let's take a look at tonight's Credit One Bank ones to watch.
Man, you got to go with the leader, Willie B. William Byron, that 24 car, beat him out of the pits, took charge of this race. I think he's going to win, folks. I really do.
You know, Clint, Martinsville is like a home game for Richard Childress Racing. Austin Dillon in that 3 car started back outside the top 20. Good on the long runs. Could he be looking at his second top 5 of 2022?
I've got to go with the 9 car. Only driver at Hendrick Motorsports that hasn't gotten a win yet this year. 3 runner-up finishes since his last win. Got the #1 pit stall, and we've got to make one more pit stop. I'm going with that 9.
Chad, I'm going to go with the 10 car of Eric Almirola. Started this race second, been in the top 7 pretty much the entire night. A strong, long-run race car. And you know what? Tony Stewart, his boss, has been on the pit box with him all night long. Give me Eric Almirola.
Joey Logano looking for his first win of the season. putting that 2-2 Twain up into second place. We'll see what happens over these last 100 laps. Can he snap a 36-race winless streak? And those are the Credit One Bank ones to watch as we see the change of second place.
And here it is. Coming through. We know.
Boy.
We talked about it. And actually, we heard him talking about this. When do you lay the bumper to it? The time is now. Joey Logano put the bumper to the 9 car at Chase Elliott, and in tow, Ryan Blaney. And guess what? He's not the only one. Austin Dillon. We've been talking about that last 15 to 20 laps of a run. Here he is.
That's what Austin said he wanted. He wanted a long run. Really felt like his number 3 Chevrolet really started to take off in the late stages. And man, it is coming on strong right now.
Well, this race is certainly playing right into his favor. See if it continues that way. If it does, I think for sure a top 3.
And like that, Chase Elliott has been dropped to 5th place.
That really hurts my feelings after my prediction just a moment ago.
But look at the difference. Gave up that lead, lost the lead on that pit road. We heard him talk about his page, couldn't switch that page. One thing Chad and I both saw, he was slow on his pit road speed. Larry pointed out that the pit stop was a second half slower, but I'm telling you, his rolling speed was off. The 24 drove right to his bumper.
I tell you, the biggest thing I see with this 9 car right now is how bad the lap time has fallen off. And, you know, we were talking a while ago, these guys can go quite a ways more on fuel, probably another 50 laps. Alan Gustafson may have to think about short pitting this 9 car just because of what I'm seeing with lap times.
Well, Elliott has the fastest lap of the race, but here's your Xfinity fastest last lap. Joey Logano trying to catch William Byron. He's 1.4 back. At the fastest time, Austin Dillon, Christopher Bell, Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, the fast 5.
I like what I heard Larry said right there, Chad. We heard you say, man, I'm holding strong. I'm going to wait. I think a caution could come out. I don't think it would be worth it. If you start to see your driver slipping back, losing spots, how much do you have to see there before you call him in, try to short pit, and make up some of that time?
Oh, man, you're really putting me on the spot here.
Yes, sir.
Clint. This is not the position that I want to be in, but that's, you know, we got to listen to these guys because you got to pay attention to what everybody in the field is saying. You got your crews and your engineer, everybody's listening and scanning. If you start to hear some chatter that people might start to be doing it, once again, just like we said at Richmond, you got to be on the front side of it. You got to be the first one to draw it if you start hearing people talk about it.
Regan?
Mike, just the update, the 9 at Chase Elliott sliding back just a little bit. Reported a few laps ago to the team that he hurt the right rear of that race car. Ever since then, he's been loose with the car. Can't get drive off, struggling more and more.
I think that all comes down to giving up that lead. I think it all comes down, just like I said, giving up that lead, not having the affordability of that clean air, coming off the brakes, rolling into the corner, managing every aspect of that long run. He didn't have that as soon as you put that 24 car William Byron in front of him.
Watching 3rd and 4th place here from Ryan Blaney, and Kyle Busch comes to pit road.
Your first one to flinch right there, guys. This will potentially open up the floodgates to start to see some guys come down and take an opportunity.
19 to Martin
19
Truex
coming
Jr.
also. This is what Alan Gustafson has been wanting to see. These other guys start to do this. If he's going to do it, he's going to be doing it here quickly.
Regan.
Mike, you see the 18 of Kyle Busch, one of the first to fit, as you mentioned, or the first to fit, I should say, all night long. Doesn't matter what he does, just too tight with that race car. Cannot get that race car to turn. And the 19 of Martin Truex Jr., same deal. He has been tight in traffic all night long. Pretty good by himself, but cannot turn that race car.
Another 4-tire change. Justin Haley is in. Otherwise, pit road is vacant right now with 107 to go. Alex Bowman goes down 1, as Cole Custer did earlier.
Heard him talk about that vibration he had. It has to be something going ill in the back of that car because he was so strong early in the race.
Brad Keselowski makes his stop. Wow, Truex came out and almost cleaned out a bunch of cars in turn 3 and 4. He's got trouble.
Right out of the pits. Something down. Is it on the right front?
It looks like the right front.
For one of them flat.
The right front tire looks like it's flat.
Flat.
So he will
definitely down on the rim.
Yeah.
Christopher Bell is in. Truex will limp around and get back to pit road on the inside of the racetrack, and we stay green.
Chad, can you knock the valve stem off with this single lug? Now, how does a tire come out flat right off of a pit stop like that?
Kind of odd to see that happen. You really wouldn't think so.
You go low.
This is a new one on me. We're going to have to wait and investigate this one a little bit sooner or a little bit later, but it's definitely a flat tire, but he could have run something over.
Alex Bowman and Tyler Reddick are in as green flag stops continue. And another car went high up the racetrack in 4. That was Keselowski, who just came out of the pits on brand new tires.
Here comes the 9.
Chase Elliott on pit road.
And these guys coming on and off of pit road are the things. The 48 car just locked up big time getting into turn 3 on those cold tires. This is when you get your caution. This is why you continue to stretch it, because it could show up like that. And obviously, Rudy and the 24 guys right now, they're thinking, we're going to hold serve.
Christopher Bell's team over the wall too soon. Regan.
All night long, one of the strong suits for the 9 car Chase Elliott was the ability to manage those tires, in particular the rear tires, but not this run. Burnt the rear tires up, got very loose after that happened. You see him making the 4-tire pit stop now to get him to the end.
Kurt Busch is in, Chris Buescher.
So right now, William Byron is out there running a 2050. The 18 car is running a 2030, so tenths of a second faster. Jamie, what have you got on pit road?
Well, Bubba Wallace, and remember they had that penalty earlier with the pit crew as they work on the left side of it. 2-time Truck Series winner here, but he said, Mike, with this new car, it has changed the game. He's had to learn how to drive this track in a completely different way.
Wow. Cars are coming out of the pits with no heat in the tires and sliding way up in turns 3 and 4. And everybody has to run for cover when those cars come off before they build any heat in the tire.
This is when the money's on the line. 45's coming out, trying to get some temperature in his. This is when the mistakes start happening. Crunch time on pit road, no mistakes. Do not get caught speeding. No too soon over the wall. Everybody hit your marks. Cannot afford to make a mistake.
Jamie.
Kevin Harvick coming off his best run in the year of second. They feel like they're really starting to hit their stride. It showed in practice yesterday and tonight, doing a nice job. You see the chassis adjustment there, been running top 10. Regan.
Eric Almirola in the 10 car has been very strong all night long. Started tight, felt like the track was even tightening up more. That's the biggest problem for them.
Cole Custer is on pit road. Remember, it's only 39 degrees ambient temperature here. Kyle Larson is in. So is Corey LaJoie, and here comes leader William Byron to pit road. So building heat in the tires, it's going to take more than a lap or 2.
And he brought the 22 and the 3 with him, pitted on the same lap. I was wondering if the 3, as fast as he was on those, backside of those runs, if he'd stay out. He didn't. Everybody on pit road, Jamie.
3 of Austin Dillon been really good, as you guys have documented. You even talked to him. Gets better as that long run goes. So this race is played right into his hands. The 24 of William Byron as well. They have been solid. That clean air has been really good for the 2014. Just 4 tires there.
Austin Cindric completes his stop.
So now we need to watch, where does the 24 come on track in relationship to the cars that pitted first? So the 18, we got the 9 pitted before him. Where does he come out in relationship to those guys?
Well, Kyle Larson's going to come back in. Too fast exiting pit road for the number 5.
That's that costly air that I was talking about. Cannot afford those mistakes. This last green flag pit stop with no room to make it up.
He was 9th. Chase Briscoe on pit road. Michael McDowell and Ross Chastain. So, Brian Blaney and Todd Gilliland, Eric Jones, Denny Hamlin have not made their pit stop. J.J. Yaley is in, and here's Gilliland. Jamie.
Brian Blaney stops right on that number 12 pit sign. Said he can't get into the corner like he'd like to. Battling with his teammate Joey Logano for a while there. Had a nice run going. They'll adjust a little bit with air pressure and 4 tires.
Now, just before pitting, Blaney and Almirola on fresh tires. Wow.
Trying to get his lap back right there on the leader. So pit stop cycle's complete. William Byron is back out front with the 22 behind him. He's got about a 1.5 second lead. And then Austin Dillon in 3rd place.
Just showed you how much faster tires are. I mean, he was literally in the way. Got moved.
22 and 3 is the best battle on the racetrack. 2nd place. Traffic ahead. Harrison Burton to the inside. And Todd Gilliland. Now, before pit stops, Byron's lead was 3.1 seconds over Logano. With the pit stop, the 22 team cuts that lead in half. "90 laps to go. Have we seen the last pit stop of the night? We'll see." Caution for debris in turn 4. Chase Elliott and Kyle Busch are coming to pit road. The big winner here is Eric Jones, who had not been on pit road since lap 185. So he is in 12th place. And pit road not very busy, only about 6 takers. Jamie.
And Kevin Harvick, taker on this stop. You know, he just came in and got those fresh tires. They opted to come in. The rest opted to stay out. Let's go to Regan.
18 car Kyle Busch pitted. They felt like they were going to drag a lot of the cars behind them down pit road. That did not happen. He's been tight all night long. And Chase Elliott, the discussion with him and Alan Gustafson was, we can't win the way we are right now. We might as well try something.
17 cars in the lead lap. I also would have expected more of those guys to have pitted right there. Pretty interesting.
But and you called it.
Brad Keselowski gets the free pass. Free pass on this one. And earlier on the green flag stop, Christopher Bell's team was over the wall too soon. That's why he is back in 19th, 1 lap down. 2 exciting weeks coming up for Fox NASCAR coverage. Here's a preview.
Easter Sunday, Sunday, Sunday.
Start your engine.
Head on down to the Bristol Motor Speedway. It's a half mile of dirt so dusty it'll make your vacuum puke. Oh, but that's not all. Week after, it's Talladega. The track's so long you'll need binoculars taped to a telescope just to see the finish line. The speeds are different. The wrecks are different. The driving will be different. But the fun will be the same. It's Bristol and Talladega. Buckle your seatbelts.
You couldn't have 2 more different weekends to look forward to.
That dirt race next week. I'm telling you, you want to talk about unknowns? We are going into that race with more unknowns, in my opinion, than we have in a long time. I cannot wait to get there and call that race and watch it all unfold. And then Talladega, you want to talk about wild. Everything's wild at Talladega, from the infield to the racetrack.
The Advance Auto MyTrack Challenge is back this year. Visit advancemytrack.com. Vote for your favorite NASCAR Advance Auto Parts Weekly Series track. Each vote enters you for a chance to win weekly prizes, and your favorite racetrack will win too. Ryan Blaney will be 4th on this restart. Now, Byron, ahead of Logano, does not have a teammate behind him. Which lane do you want for this restart?
Yeah, you're going to take the bottom. Oh, I shouldn't say that. I'm going to suggest the bottom. Driver, what do you think?
You're good going, Chad.
This is the first time I think you're going to see this whole choose cone thing be such a valid discussion. And I obviously goes from William Byron's decision and all the way through the field. We saw Ty Gibbs choosing that outside, getting himself 2 or 3 spots this time. Another caution, 2 or 3 spots the next time. Obviously getting himself into a situation where he was a conversation for the win. But I'm telling you, the gloves are off, boys. This is the one thing this race needed to turn it on end, and it's here.
Now wait, he's avoided the conversation. What is the answer? Are you going to the top or are you going to the bottom?
No way. You passed me on the inside. That's shame on me. You passed me on the outside. Congratulations, you earned it.
What a beautiful sight, Martinsville Speedway. From our aerial coverage provided by Goodyear. Anything can happen as long as you have the drive. Goodyear, more driven. You think you've seen bumper tags so far tonight? We're just getting started.
Better give those belts a little bit of a tug here before you get to this next restart, guys.
I know a crew chief used to say that a lot on Fox.
Yeah.
They will choose this time in what could be the final restart of the night.
Could be. Probably not.
Smirk, smirk.
You know, it's still 82 to go. You know, you finally get this caution that we all long for, right? And now you get all excited. It isn't like it's just time to take the gloves off, like I said, so to speak. Hey, you see it right there. Watch this choose. And I think back here is where this really gets interesting.
Well, Logano chose with Byron, both on the inside, leaving the outside of the front row open for Austin Dillon. The 24 is the control car. He has to fire off first. That is going to make Dillon's job on this restart very difficult.
But if he can get himself in position, what I mean by that, just inches in front of him, you can crowd him down. And if he gets loose underneath of you, that's all it takes for you to take that lead.
I'm telling you, that 22 is in a position right now to go 3 wide down the back straightaway.
I did that once, Chad.
How'd that
It did
go?
not work.
No?
For you or me.
We'll listen to Brandon Benash, Austin Dillon's spotter, on this restart.
Going on him. Still inside, half back with us, line up bottom. Clear 22 to 24. Inside 22. Bumper, clear, get down, you're good, by half.
Dillon used up a little quarter getting down to the inside on Joey Logano. 3 wide, a little further back. Kyle Busch way on the outside, but he's going to get away with it and make that pass.
This is where these drivers are going to have to be careful. One wheel lock up in a slide, you're going to be into that car on the outside of it, and both of you will be round.
Kurt Busch, Ryan Blaney getting into it here. This is for 4th place.
The dive bombs are picking up.
Be tight with your bumper. You're clear.
And that 10 car is not being hesitant at all to use that bumper and move these cars. Now it's everybody. Cindric. The 14 gets in the back of Cindric, pushes him into Chastain. I'm telling you, it's picking up.
And on the outside, Kyle Busch, the first car that just took tires, in 10th place. Behind him, Elliott, Harvick, Jones, and Buescher, and Bubba Wallace, all with fresh rubber.
3 wide again. Yeah, Kyle is going for it. He's got that fresh rubber on there. He's got about 10 less laps than everybody else on his tires. He's taking advantage of it. And right now is when you need to make hay with those tires. You got to go get it while you got the opportunity.
That was a pretty bold move, a risky move, being on the end, or on the outside. Excuse me, a 3 wide, knowing those two on the inside of you are rubbing fenders like that. You stuck it on the outside, past them both.
Chase Elliott on new tires also compared to some of these other guys right now. He's trying to navigate it, get back up in there.
Also Eric Jones and Kevin Harvick all on new tires, and Bubba Wallace, the 23.
Where did Eric Jones come from?
Got himself back on the lead lap. He maintained that free pass position and then started coming forward. Ryan Blaney and Austin Dillon just ran their personal best lap of the race.
That 3 car is licking his chops right now. As good as he's been on the long run, he's hoping this thing goes green for the next 72 laps to get himself in position to go up there and battle with William. And he's right there with him. He's matching lap time right now within 1/100 of a second.
You're right, and it's almost to the lap in his favor. It's exactly, if you look with 70 to go, you know, that was right back in his wheelhouse when he really did shine. And by the way, he's holding serve, like you say, to him on the short run. So if he can stay this close, don't overdrive this car. Don't forget what got you here, Austin. You got to make sure that you manage this situation just like you have every other long run. Let that car do the work and afford you that opportunity that it has every single stage.
Here's Austin Dillon's night at Martinsville. Coming up to second place here with 70 laps to go. Lacking just 0.4 of a second of the lead, which William Byron has held 3 times for a total of 140 laps here.
How about this? Kurt Busch in his 45 car has been all over the place, digging, grinding this race out, now in the top 5. Great comeback. Good day for Kurt Busch. Good weekend overall for 2311.
These drivers are shifting 4 times a lap, and it's just added a whole new dimension to racing here at Martinsville.
Did you hear the difference in the driving styles? It's the first time I've really paid attention to Kurt. He's downshifting right dead smack in the middle of the corner. Everybody else is using that downshift, getting into the corner to slow it down. He reaches C, car is completely calm, almost right before he's back to the throttle, reach over and downshift. That's drastically different than anybody else we've seen.
And that's saving your tires also, right?
Yep.
That's helping it. It's not shocking the rear suspension. It's not blowing the rear tires off and sliding them through the center of the corner. He's not using the gear to turn the car. So that means his car's handling really, really well.
It also means it's another adjustment you do in the car if that thing's loose in. If that thing's loose in, don't entice that thing to be worse off by, like you said, shocking those rear tires with the massive downshift.
Well, he is gaining on Joey Logano. 3rd to 4th there, as William Byron leads Austin Dillon by 0.7 of a second. The last time a car numbered 3 won a Cup race at Martinsville, that was Dale Earnhardt. Austin Dillon was 5 years old. 64 laps to go. William Byron out front in Martinsville, Virginia on FS1 as we take you box side by side.
A new era of pro football beginning in April.
The USFL officially kicking off. 8 teams battling in 43 games. It's more football, more opportunity. It's good news.
The bottom line is we all love watching football.
We're announcing the 8 coaches. Good coaching is a great start.
The 2022 USFL draft is open.
First pick, quarterback Jay Bass. It's higher caliber football. Whatever it takes to win. Standalone football league. Fans have been waiting for this moment. Now, spring football is back.
Of all the tracks, there's only one monster. The Monster Mile. Dover Motor Speedway, April 29 through May 1.
Come on along, head for the mountains of Bush Beer. Head for the mountains, it's cold and it's smooth and it's waiting for you. Come on, head for the mountains of Bush Beer. Head for the mountains of Bush. Head for the mountains of Bush Light Beer.
And I walk out, and my car is dented.
Well, Geico does offer 24/7 claim service with personalised attention from an assigned team.
24/7? That's a lot of attention.
They're not actually with you 24/7. They're just available whenever you need them.
Oh, okay, good. Because I took an online quiz, and it turns out I'm an introvert.
I actually think I'm an introvert, too.
Oh, no, it's incredibly rare.
I don't think that's right.
Sorry.
Okay,
Geico. Your claims team is here for you 24/7.
Look, I only get one race a year to shine. I mean, I'm literally dirt. And I see you with your fancy next-gen cars and championship aspirations. I'm just here at Bristol with 20,000 truckloads of my best friends to make your Easter Sunday
heavy damage
eventful. Yeah, sure, you're the best drivers on Earth, but I'm actual Earth. And now, you're down here with me, under the lights. Game on, baby. The NASCAR Bristol Dirt Race, Easter Sunday at 7 on Fox.
56 laps to go. William Byron leading by just less than a second. And look at how many players have gone 5 for 5 and are still alive for a shot at $5,000 of Clint's money on the Fox Bet Super 6 app. Now the final question deals with the race finish and which of this year's winless drivers will finish ahead of the others. Hendrick Motorsports has led all but 6 laps tonight, and those 6 laps were all during the green flag pit stop cycle. Ryan Blaney led 5 and Austin Dillon 1. The gap is 1 second. Byron to Dillon. Joey Logano another 0.8 of a second back. And Kurt Busch, trying to gain a little ground, has cut it to 2.5 seconds. On the other side of the ledger, Kevin Harvick, 16th place, Jamie.
And Kevin Harvick says he is just plowing tight, been tight all night. He's getting frustrated. This was Kevin talking to Rodney Childers, his crew chiefs, moments ago.
One thing to make the car better tonight. What the do you think we're supposed to do better? We have no track partner moves and we have no brake rubbers. We've done rounds at both rears of air pressure. No, maybe we should just keep talking about it and see if I can shift.
Tempers, emotions, everything gets heated along with the brakes here in Martinsville, and it's really difficult for the crew chief to try to help your driver out. It's a new race car. We don't really know from a crew chief perspective what we can do and a little bit of adjustments that we can have, you know, and we haven't had cautions. Not a lot of cautions to work on your race car.
There's nothing more frustrating than being, struggling in a track like Martinsville. Everything is amplified. And you want to talk about frustrating? Listen to this.
How this has happened. Top ranked team that misses its 30th place car. Everybody sucks sometimes, I think. And we just collectively all decided to suck on the same day. That's all I know, I'll tell you. I don't think we all suck. Everybody but you. I agree. Same dude that had like 500 laps here last year. It's awful. It's frustrating. I understand. It is what it is.
It's the new car blues. We've never been to Martinsville with this brand new next-gen car, and it's a learning process for everybody. Some lessons are easier learned than others.
They are. The thing you've got to be cautious with in these types of situations is you can't tear your thing apart, right? You got a crew chief. You've got hundreds of folks that are building your race cars. You've got engineers and mechanics and spotters and everybody, and you got to be really cautious about what you lash out on. I've been guilty of that myself, of saying things on the radio that I shouldn't.
You heard me earlier talk about Austin Dillon, and I was honestly talking to myself. I've been out there in this situation before, and it's so easy to get enticed into racing a different race than what got you there. I've noticed his front brake rotors really glowing. Never saw that on these long runs. His car was turning free. It was effortless. Now the brakes are glowing, and I've seen the 22 car right behind him, Joey Logano, no brake glow. He is managing a long run. Now you see it because he's pressing the 3. But this is the conversation I've been watching a lot of, and I feel like maybe the 3 car overpushed his car trying to keep up with the pace of that 24 and may not have this long run result this time like he's had every other run.
Only 45 laps to go.
Jamie?
And Clint, you're exactly right. We keep hearing Austin Dillon on the radio as the run goes on, man. The car is getting good, but not this time. He said, I'm starting to slide the front end through the corner, something I haven't heard from the 3.
So when that thing slides the front end, what do you have to do? You have to hold that brake pedal just a little bit longer because it won't roll the center. You have to slow the car down. That's where the brakes are glowing from. Then the tire pressures build up. It keeps getting worse and worse and worse.
Austin Dillon has run more laps in the top 5 tonight than in his whole entire Cup career combined. That in-car radio, though, for the driver, that is his safety valve. That is his turkey popper. Whatever it is, that is what the driver uses to let his steam off.
That's right. I've always called it the pop-off valve. It's finally released.
Now let's see Austin Dillon's laps against race leader William Byron. It'll reset every lap, but you see how their line is just slightly different.
Yeah, it was really interesting. I love to hear Clint's opinion on this. It looks like the 3 is driving into the corner a little bit harder. Williams floating it in there a little bit more. Maybe that's saving the rear tire or front tires just a little bit.
But look how he was slow rolling the center.
Yeah.
That's what is so important here. You have to have that car stop, rotate, change directions so we can get back on the gas. And that's what this 24 car is doing better than anybody else out there.
Now the difference was only 6/100ths of a second that lap, but you keep doing that, and that's how William Byron builds that lead.
That's not to say, and again, look at Austin Dillon. I think he's made those corrections. I think his team, his crew chief, they can all acknowledge that. They see in the SMT data, the spotter on the roof sees those rotors glowing. Don't think for a second that those guys haven't relayed that information. Make some adjustments inside that car, and now you see some gap, some real estate back in between him and that 22 of Joe Logano in his mirror.
Now that time, Austin Dillon picked up 9/100ths of a second on Byron. So the gap is 1.6 with 38 laps to go. We'll go Fox side by side one more time.
Swinging vine, swing my heart across the line. In my face is flashing signs.
One historic game. A prime time event. Next Saturday, the USFL makes history with a special opening night as the Birmingham Stallions open the season against the New Jersey Generals.
How about this?
Live on Fox and NBC.
The biggest game.
The USFL kicks off next Saturday, 7:30 Eastern on Fox and NBC.
Toyota, let's go places.
Oh, Marco's Pepperoni Magnifico. Classic and old world pepperoni on one pizza, and a large is just $9.99? The phrase slice of heaven comes to mind. Marco's, pizza lovers, get it.
At USAA, we've been called too exclusive because we were created for officers. But as we've evolved with the military, we've grown to serve all who've honorably served, no matter their rank or when they were in. A Marine just out of boot camp, or a petty officer from 73, and even his kids and their kids. USAA is made for all who honorably serve and their eligible family members. Are we still exclusive? Absolutely. And that's exactly why you should join.
eBay Motors has parts for new cars, new parts for old cars, and new parts for cars about as old as I am. eBay Motors has over 122 million parts. That's insane. Get all the right parts at the right prices. Let's ride.
Whoa! Holy cow! Oh my God, guys! Let's go!
It's an absolute hack.
Catch all that?
I'm ready to rip somebody's freaking head off.
Or that? Well, get ready for this, and a whole lot of this. I am Full Throttle. I am NASCAR.
30 laps to go in Martinsville. The USFL is coming next Saturday. The historic inaugural game as the New Jersey Generals take on the Birmingham Stallions is on Fox and NBC. Next Saturday, 7:30 Eastern Time.
Looking forward to watching that. Man, I've been saying it. You know, are you a gladiator or you're a stallion? I've just took a liking to the Stallion boys, and I'm ready to watch them do some work. I think it's going to be a lot of fun to follow along.
William Byron now 1.9 seconds up on Austin Dillon. Joey Logano closing on the second place car. Kurt Busch 3 seconds back. Blaney 3 3/4.
So this is where you really start having some conversation with your engineers. Okay, we've got roughly 70 laps on our tires. If the caution comes out right now, what do we do? Are we going to come down pit road? How do we make an adjustment to make sure we've got the short run speed if we do? Or is somebody like the 9 car who pitted a little bit after everybody else, does he say, you know what, we're not going to win the race if we come down pit road behind everybody else? Do we stay out there and you get 4 or 5 other guys to do that? You got yourself in a completely different position.
Now, of the cars that came in and took tires at lap 314, are we surprised that Kyle Busch, his march forward stopped at 9th place, Chase Elliott's at 11th? The cars with newer tires were quick, but only for a little while.
It is a little shocking. You would have seen a little bit more advancement than what we have out of those 2 guys tonight. But it's, you know, this whole racing is different. You know, Clinton mentioned it before, the wider wheel and tire, the cars handle a little bit different with the shifting. Maybe it's changed the dynamic a lot more than what we had anticipated when we first rolled in here.
All right, last lap in turn 3. Joey Logano gave Austin Dillon the boot, but he could not make the pass. Larry.
Yeah, what I was going to say, Chad, I think you're exactly right. You know, you look at 18 drivers on the lead lap. Everybody has a lot of laps on those tires, but I think you would definitely have some roll the dice and say, you know what, if we just follow the leader, that's what we're going to do, is follow the leader. I think you definitely would have some stay out.
And if you're the first guy that stays out, you're just trying to get your buddies to stay out with you. Come on, man. Let's just get 4 of us stay out. Maybe we get a shot at it, right?
Yeah, you can jump if you want to. I ain't jumping with you.
Leader in heavy traffic, William Byron. If you're into numbers, the 24 and the 3 are running 1-2. That's how they finished here in 1999. Jeff Gordon and Dale Earnhardt finished 1-2 in those same car numbers. Driving for those same teams, Hendrick Motorsports and Richard Childress Racing. After that shot from Logano, Dillon has picked it up. He's now working race traffic, and he's got the lead down to 1.3.
I'm telling you, I'm liking the adjustment that Austin made in that car. I don't know, you know, I didn't hear that, but I just feel it and I sense it. I look at his brake rotors and how he's making these laps. I think this car is coming back to him a little bit. And this is exactly where it did this part in the run, that 20 to 15 to 20 laps at the end of every run. That thing's been extremely strong, and he's done it in traffic.
After
which,
a bump and run,
is exactly what they have. Sorry, Mike.
Yes, you're good. After that bump and run, Chase Elliott got past Tyler Reddick, and it brings Elliott back into the top 10, though it took him 50 laps to do it. That's Austin Cindric you're riding with. Oh, he moves Tyler Reddick.
Still there.
You saw it there.
You're good.
This is why you better start making your plans on what you're going to do for your tire strategy, because things are definitely heating up. Oh.
17 to go, and Dillon lost a lot of ground on that lap in traffic. And Logano is right there once again.
I'm not sure the 8. He keeps getting really loose off the corner. I don't know if that left rear tire is down, but extremely loose off the last 3 or 4 corners.
Man, he's got his hands full right there.
Here's a replay of 2 laps ago.
Yeah, that's what I was talking about. Just loose off the corner. But he's not only loose off the corner. Tyler Reddick has his hands full getting in the corner as well.
We've heard a couple of drivers today talk about they beat up the right rear tire. Once you beat it up, you can't get it back. And if you continue to abuse it, which he is right now, as he's hung on the outside of the racetrack, outside groove, man, you're not going to do any good.
Well, we mentioned earlier, the last time we raced at Martinsville at night, Denny Hamlin ended up 3 laps down, and that's where he is right this moment. Tough night for team number 11. 13 laps to go in 6 of this year's 7 races. The final pass of the night for the win came in the final 10 laps. Christopher Bell trying to overcome a penalty on the green flag pit stops back there in 20th. And also the 41 of Cole Custer, who ran 185 laps in the top 5, also trying to overcome a penalty.
Seeing a lot of cars getting moved out of the way. Patience is running thin with these guys. We gonna see a caution.
10 to go next time by.
Right now with 10 laps to go, you've got half of the guys just dogging, trying to get that position ahead of them, and the other half of the guys saying, can we get past these 10 laps and get this thing done?
Well, there's nobody seeing that louder than William Byron in that 24. Yeah, how about this? Ty Dillon, man, old brother's running second. Look up on that scoreboard in the center, see that 24. Do you hold him up?
Well, it's a Byron sandwich between the 2 Dillon brothers. 2.8 seconds. Byron to Austin Dillon with 9 to go. And Dillon's second place could be in jeopardy. Joey Logano just about 4 car lengths back of the second place car.
This will be the longest 5 miles for Rudy and that 24 team, just watching this stuff click over.
Kurt Busch and Ryan Blaney within a car length for 4th place too. Here's Blaney to the outside. Traffic ahead for those 2. Double wide in front of them.
Yeah, Blaney's putting a bumper to him big time.
Close up your bumper. Half a car went down.
Oh, this lap traffic really coming into play here.
Only
caution.
Could you yell that just a little louder?
Hey, caught me off guard, David Gilliland.
It's
holy cow.
It's Jamie's birthday. I think Clint just got a present with that yellow flag. Let's see what happened. 4th caution flag of the night. Whoa.
Oh. Locking up that left front tire, getting into the corner.
Holy cow. This race just turned on in. You said it. All right. Everybody pitting. Anybody going to chance it and stay out? What are we doing, Chad?
I see some gamblers up there in that top 5 or 6. Kurt Busch in that group, they're a gambler. Ross Chastain, that one group, they're gamblers.
Yeah, okay. The hardest part is to take that guy off a point, that 24 car. That is the hardest decision to make as a crew chief. What is that guy going to do?
I have been in this position exactly with Rusty Wallace behind us when I was crew chief on the 48 car. We stayed out leading the race. I'm thinking, man, we got this thing with just a handful of laps to go. Everybody on the racetrack pitted behind us.
Right. Everyone.
You
were the lone soldier out there.
It didn't look good. We didn't even make it past.
Well, the green light's on, boys. Look, we're going to see right here.
Excuse me.
See if we can find him.
Kyle Larson gets the free pass.
Let's stay here.
Rudy's staying out.
So Kyle Larson gets the free pass. The last time we had this few cautions at Martinsville was 1977.
Oh, look at that. 18 car, first one to bite.
From 9th place, Kyle Busch comes down pit road. Eric Jones is in. Among the lead lap cars, Kevin Harvick.
That sure caught me off guard. It must have caught me off guard because it caught both crew chiefs off guard. No gamblers. Larry?
Yes, Clint.
He told me. We're gambling. I honestly, that caught me completely off guard. I thought that 3 car was dipping down. I thought he was going to be a taker, and if I think the next 7 or 8 were going to follow suit.
Alex Bowman came in, both the RFK Fords.
Boy, the choose cone decision is lighting up.
What are you going to do?
I'm taking the bottom if I'm the 24 for sure.
What do you do if you're the 3? Do you follow him or do you try that outside again? Didn't work all that well on the last restart.
How bad do I want to win this race? To win,
well,
you're going to say that the goal, say you're going to have to rough this guy up to win. Your only chance of doing that is to choose on the inside and push him out of the way. Hate to say that and be that way. Don't even try to dive underneath of him. Trust me, I've tried that before. That does not work. You're going to have to push him out of the way. It's going to be an ugly move. There are going to be a lot of haters, but you might be in victory lane because of it.
Well, we are going to NASCAR overtime. Green-white checker. Most of the lap-down cars chose to pit. William Byron has been out front for 206 laps, and this is now the most laps that William has led in an entire season, and we're only 8 races in.
Good for him. That team's done a great job the last handful of weeks. I know we mentioned it earlier in the show, but the effort that they put in together, extraneous races, things that they're doing outside of the Cup Series, just trying to get him more laps. Just really, really proud of those guys.
I'm quite certain that's what's going to happen with those front 2 cars. I want to know, where I'm at is what Logano's going to do, what Kurt Busch is going to do. Those are the 2 that I feel like really have a chance of taking that outside, option and going for it, trying to pin them down on the outside. All it takes, just like I said, Austin had a great jump on that last start. He really did, almost to the point of man, don't get out too far, because it was really close whether or not maybe a decision to be made there. That being said, all you got to do is get a little bit of an edge, get that car loose underneath of you, and you're going to come off a 2 in the lead.
Last night's Xfinity race, it was a cold, cool night like this one. And the final restart, it came down to overtime. Brandon Jones in the 19 restarted 3rd, but Sam Mayer and Ty Gibbs got together, and Jones from 3rd on the restart went to victory lane, while Ty Gibbs unloaded on Sam Mayer.
Point is exactly what I said. I watched that race back there in my bus. He started 3rd and moved him out of the way, and that guy ended up in a fight, and the other one was in victory lane. That quick.
So if you're not in victory lane, do you fight?
My mama told me nobody wins in a fight.
Well, I've seen you fight.
You ain't really ever seen me fight.
I saw you scrap at Phoenix one year, I think.
I couldn't find him.
All right, Choose is coming this lap.
Oh, man.
The first race William Byron attended was right here, this race in 2006. Then he went on iRacing, and 6 years later ran his first race in a Legends car. There are his parents, and he's been setting records in this sport ever since.
Those are 2 big supporters of his. They fly all over the United States to watch him race. Here we go. What's going to happen, Clint? 24 to the inside.
Exactly what I said.
So the key factor here.
How about Kurt Busch going to the inside with the 2 of them, and Logano outside with his teammate Blaney?
Everything, it takes me right back to the Xfinity race. I'm telling you, the 3 car is going to have to be aggressive with the 24, and if he does, that opens the floodgates for Kurt Busch to repay the favor and knock the 3 out of the way and win this race. I don't know. That ain't the way things used to be, but I'm telling you, that's the way things are now.
There will be contact. There may be carnage.
Yeah. We know Logano can be aggressive on a restart.
Will this be the final restart of the night? It is Credit One Bank overtime. Green, white checker. Byron versus Logano on the front row. Here we go.
Good restart by the 22.
Not the best for Austin Dillon. I don't think he's going to be there to make the move.
Byron clears Logano. Dillon in 3rd.
William did a great job.
Oh, we got too high.
He takes the white flag.
There it is. Is he going to move him?
Next flag, and it's over.
He is. He's in the back of him.
Shots fired off turn 2.
Really good defense.
Wow.
I don't think he can get to him. He tried.
And William Byron comes off turn 4 to win at Martinsville.
Takes me back. What won him that race was the jump. He slowed them way down Austin Dillon didn't quite have it timed, and it actually caused a lot of them to spin the tires, including that 3, and got him a good jump. Went off and won this race. Great job, William Byron. Did everything right.
William Byron for Raptor Bedliner, Team Hendrick Motorsports, and Team Chevrolet will go to victory lane for the 4th time in his 152 race career.
How about Ross Chastain coming back and getting a top 5?
Logano 2nd, Austin Dillon 3rd, Ryan Blaney, Ross Chastain. Then the Busch brothers, Kurt and Kyle, Eric Almirola, Chase Briscoe, Chase Elliott, the top 10.
A lot of highs and a lot of lows in this race.
And William Byron has just become this season's first 2-time winner. He finished 2nd here in the fall race in 2019. And all 4 of his wins have come not only on different tracks, but on different types of tracks.
He's getting so versatile. His road course racing is getting better. Obviously fantastic on the short tracks. One here on Thursday in the Truck Series race. HendrickCars.com on that car. Another victory here Saturday night.
It really blows my mind, his path. It tells you just how things have changed in this sport. I mean, he didn't grind it out on short tracks, come from go-karts, go through the stepping stones of NASCAR. He got here. Once he got into the Truck Series, went to the Xfinity. Unbelievable.
Regan Smith.
Oh, William Byron, a huge embrace with his pit crew just a moment ago on his way to get the checkered flag.
William, over there. Behind you.
William, your crew got you the lead at the end of stage 2. You did the rest all night long. You had to fend off a late race restart. Didn't place a wheel wrong all night long. How good does it feel to win at Martinsville?
And it feels awesome. I knew when that last caution came out, we were probably, I thought everyone behind us would pit. And luckily, we stayed out. We were aggressive. We felt like we could refire on the tires and be okay. And you got one of the most aggressive guys behind you in Logano. And I knew, I chattered the tires in 3 and 4 and kind of left the bottom open, but was able to kind of block my exits and get a good drive off. So this one's for my mom. She last time this same weekend last year, she had kind of a mini stroke and was diagnosed with brain cancer. So it means a lot to have her here, and it's been a crazy year, but she's doing great, and thanks everybody for the support. I kind of felt like she was riding there with me. So it's cool to have her here, and I'm definitely going to enjoy this one.
She was definitely riding with you, as a matter of fact, on the pit box all night long. A lot of smiles. What do you think that moment's going to be like when you see her in here?
Oh, man, it's going to be awesome. I love my parents. They've been so supportive, but also kind of let me grow up as I get older. So, I got a great support system. Thanks to all the fans for coming out. Great crowd. Always wanted to win at Martinsville. Got 2 clocks this weekend, so I enjoy that.
William Byron gets the grandfather clock.
And Joey Logano comes up 1 spot short. And Joey, you rallied there. You had a run for it at the end, but with so many unknowns coming into this race, your perspective on just what it was like with this car.
Yeah, it was a good race down to the end. Really hard to pass. I felt like, man, if I just had a better restart before that, I think I chose the wrong lane and got the 3 in front of me, and I just got stuck behind him, couldn't pass him, and maybe I could have had something for the 24 in that long haul, if not. But just that final restart there, had a front row. It's what you can ask for. Got cleared to second, and William kind of messed up off of 4 and let me get to him. And he did a really good job at brake checking the 2/3, right? Which is, it's a good job. He did what he's supposed to do, and kind of got me all stuffed up behind him, and I couldn't accelerate off the corner and be as close as I needed to be down into 3 to execute the old bump and run. So couldn't get quite to him, but his corner entry was really strong too, which I think allowed him to get in there pretty strong. So overall, the Shell Pennzoil Mustang had a solid run. Just hate being that close to winning and not making it happen, but big points today, and it just stings. Second just sucks sometimes. That's all.
Best finish of the year, if there's a silver lining, Mike.
That's for sure. Let's take a look at the final restart.
I'd take it right to this jump. Did a great job. See, Logano started coming to him, and he waited. Boom, there it went. See the 3 spins the tires behind him. Now the 3's blocking. Took that conversation, cleared out of the window. The battle's at 22 is the only car that William Byron had to focus on. When he cleared him right there, the race was his, unless that 22 knocked him out of the way and stole it.
Almost had an opportunity right here. Williams said he went in, shattered the tires, ran up the racetrack, jumped back in the throttle. Car gets sideways. The 22's in position right here. If he really wants to get in there, he can knock him super hard. William backs it up a little bit, gets the car underneath him, and then takes that hit.
I mean, hats off to Joey Logano. Like I said, he was there. Got into him, let him know he was there, tried to do it again right there, but he didn't wreck him. He didn't knock him out of the way. It wasn't anything dirty. This is a good finish. It really was.
Nope, raced him hard, but raced him clean.
That's right.
Having one of the best nights of his career was Austin Dillon. Here's Jamie.
Absolutely, and his best career finish here at Martinsville. And Austin, we didn't have to wait to the end to talk about you coming on. We talked about you all race long. So are you excited where you finished, or are you bummed because you were so close?
Well, I'm a little bummed. I like to pride myself, and when we get those situations, is being clutch, and that was anything but that on that last restart. I spun the tires pretty good through the gears, and once I got back in line there, I had some grip, and I feel like, we had good forward drive all night long, and I just felt like if we got through the gears, we're going to have a shot at them. But our Get Bioethanol Chevy was really fast. Our guys, we've been working our tails off. I'm not going to say we haven't, because we've been in the simulator. We've been working really hard to make this car as good as possible. We want to get RCR a win, and that's what we're here racing for. I want to shout out to my wife and Ace back at home, and thank the good Lord for bringing us a good run. That was a lot of fun.
3 straight top 10s for Austin Dillon.
Great third place finish as William Byron celebrates with his group after a race in which he led 212 laps and survived an overtime restart to go to victory lane. Tick-tock, grandfather clock.
All right, the under 30 club gets it done again in Martinsville. William Byron becoming the first duplicate repeat winner on the 2022 season, winning the Martinsville clock right there for Hendrick Motorsports. 27th win at Martinsville for HMS. Incredible run that started all the way back in 1984. But of course, it is I love that. Hiya! He's like, that's exactly what he did to the field out there today. That was
karate chop?
Yeah, and you know what? Listen, William Byron, you had me at this one's for my mom. Of course, Mom Dana up there watching the race with the crew. Just an incredible race for William Byron, who I will give credit where credit is due. Jamie McMurray. You picked him.
He was my pick.
You definitely did.
Yeah, I told you guys, he won the truck race. I felt good about him.
Yeah.
And I got lucky.
Yeah, so what do you think about what we saw out of him? I mean, it was that dominating performance by Hendrick Motorsports as a whole, from Chase Elliott to William Byron.
Yeah, it was interesting because at the beginning, when Chase obviously led the first 185 laps, it looked like William was maybe a little better on the long run or when they caught traffic. But then the roles got reversed, and all of a sudden I'm like, well, maybe Chase Elliott's the guy that's a little better in traffic. But William put together a great second half of that race, and that last restart had to be a lot of pressure, especially staying on old tires.
Yeah.
I think all those other cars staying out were a huge relief to him.
But when the roles really reverse, and we don't know what would have happened in the last 215 laps, have they not? But at the end of stage 2 on that trip to pit road, that's when the 24 pit crew stepped it up, and they beat the 9 off of pit road, and that's when William Byron took control of that race. Track position's key, and that's the reason you always have to be on your game on pit road, just like on the racetrack.
You got to talk about that final restart, though, because if you don't play that perfectly, you've got one of the most aggressive drivers who will move you out of the way. He's proven that before.
Yeah, Austin Dillon talked about that he spun his tires a little bit, and you could tell he was beating himself up in the post-race interview. I mean, I don't know about you guys, but I thought we were going to have a replay of exactly what we saw last night, where Brandon Jones moved Ty Gibbs out of the way. Yeah. I'm like, it's set up perfect to see it again here tonight. But William Byron, great restart, and obviously Austin Dillon didn't get a good restart, so we didn't have that. But Joey Logano tried.
William Byron agrees with you. He said, I knew I had the most aggressive guy on my rear bumper, that I had to hit my marks and do everything right.
Joey won a championship by moving someone out of the way at Martinsville. All right, let's go head back out to the track and hear from a guy who had a great finish out there. Another top 5 for Ross Chastain. He's with Regan Smith.
Ross Chastain battled hard all night long. At the end of this race, you showed up all of a sudden in the top 5. Ross, a solid night for you.
Well, a rough Friday, Regan, for practice and qualifying for our GoPro Chevy, and then it took like 300 and something laps to get just where I could see the leaders, and our car would hang on the long runs. I don't even know if we made any adjustments tonight. I don't think we did, which is incredible because yesterday we needed a lot. So for once, I was wishing one of these Cup races went the full 500. Like that's odd. I never think that. So I got into Kurt there into 3 on the final corner. I'm going for 5th, and I nerfed him up. So little brotherly love wasn't happy with me, but proud of the effort, proud of the rebound from yesterday for Trackhouse and the fight we have. Take this and move on.
Nice job, Ross. Thanks.
I love it because, when you have to apologize for being aggressive, that means you're racing people that are very aggressive and are up front. He's doing exactly that all season long.
Yeah, and what a recovery for him. He averaged a 14th place running position throughout the race. So to come home with top 5, make Kyle Busch mad, it means you're obviously doing something right, in a good position in the race. But, he had that streak of 4 top 3s in a row. A little bit of a hiccup last weekend at Richmond, but the one team has picked up right where they left off, one of the strongest teams in the series.
Yeah, it's crazy. You look up and you're like, there he is. He's in the top 10. He's in the top 5.
Again.
Yeah, let's head back out to the track. Ryan Blaney is standing by with Jamie Little.
Well, Ryan Blaney leads 5 laps tonight and brings it home 4th. You guys are all kind of saying the same thing, but what is your perspective, Ryan, on just the car here and how different Martinsville is now?
The disappointing part was it was really hard to pass. You could run someone down from a straightaway and be 2-3 tenths faster than him and just stall out, and couldn't even really get to him to put the bumper to him. Was the worst part. So I don't know. That was kind of unfortunate tonight. Hopefully we can figure out how to get it better. Coming back here in the fall. But overall, a pretty decent night by Advanced Auto Parts Ford Mustang. I thought we were really fast, especially long run. Just didn't really ever start like a restart in the lead or second to kind of be able to give the leader a run for his money. I don't know if we could have done anything with him anyway. But proud of the effort. Just was hard to kind of get around cars out there. So you're managing that all run. But overall, not a bad night. Good finish, good stage points, and go next week.
You got to be happy with that, right? Ryan Blaney walking away with a smile.
Well, he keeps running well every single week. It just does not seem to matter what racetrack, what type of track we go to. Just a model of consistency. He led a few laps. He's one of the few guys that led any laps besides Hendrick Motorsports. But Ryan and that 12th team, they've led at least one lap in every single race this year. That was their 3rd top 5. You keep running that way, the win will eventually come.
Ryan is going to be on NASCAR Race Hub on Wednesday, so make sure you tune into that, see what he has to say about that race out there. One guy that we talked to in the pre-race show started on that front row, Eric Almirola. He's with Regan Smith.
Well, it was a solid weekend, all weekend long for Eric Almirola. Start the race at the front, end up 8th, but stayed in the top 10 consistently all night long.
Yeah, we did. We had a great Smithfield Spiral Ham Ford Mustang tonight. It was a challenge at times. The track position game was so tough. I mean, everybody just would start running the same speed after about 30 laps, but our car would take off okay, and then it would just keep building looser and looser in. I rolled the middle good enough, and I launched off the corner good, but man, I couldn't quite keep the pace as those guys that were ahead of us. But all in all, it was a solid night for us, bouncing back after a couple finishes that weren't great. So Drew and all the boys been doing a good job, and hopefully we can get back on a string and run it up front. If we run up front, we'll have a shot to win.
Thanks, Eric.
Thank you so much, Regan. So 3,324 people went 6 for 6 playing Fox Bet Super 6 and split $5,000 of Clint Boyer's money. Winners are pending verification on eligibility. So not only William Byron's not the only winner out there, Hendrick Motorsports not the only winner. Led 397 laps.
And now it's well over 10,000 laps. Yeah. Martins well over. All they need to do is lead 18.
It's wild. They are just like, they're good. You get a car, they're good. Let's look ahead, right? Because we have Bristol coming up. Obviously, it's going to be very different than what we had last season. Night race on Easter Sunday. Can we at all look to who might be good?
Well, again, we have the variable of only our 2nd time of going there, the 1st time with the next-gen car. You think about the guy that ran 2nd second tonight, Joe Logano. He went to victory lane there. And the guy that dominated that race, Martin Truex Jr., who had a dismal night tonight at Martinsville, finished outside the top 20. He led the most laps and cut that tire down with 2 or 3 laps to go. But I would say we could take the word unknown for next Sunday night and put every single letter in capital letters.
Yeah, I mean, the two guys that I'm going to watch next week are going to be Christopher Bell and Kyle Larson. By far have the most experience of anyone on dirt. Both those teams are running well this year, so I expect both those guys to be up front.
Yeah, we have 2 weeks of really kind of wild card unknowns, right, with Bristol and then Talladega.
I would put Talladega and Bristol in my wild card category.
Definitely. Some guys need to get back on track. I know Denny Hamlin has a win this season, but still need to get back on track, especially after this past weekend. There he is, the man, Jeff Gordon. He won 9 times in that 24 car. Now William Byron getting number 10 in that car. We've got a Race Hub all week long, everybody. Please join us, 6 p.m. right here on FS1. And we'll be back next week as we get you ready for a little dirt track racing at Bristol. Have a great night, everybody.